Three, two, one. All right, and today we only have two people, but people you can still get on, and it's live. So today's show is about creation, about how do we become into being, the sacred geometry of everything. Just like how just like how whenever you read the Bible, you always find sacred geometry. Almost every text text always speaks the same thing. But the question is, what is what is the best way to interpret these texts in such a way that will gain us knowledge, like the Bible, for example? We all taught that God created us or created the world in 7 days. The Buddha, I don't know about like some secret text, but there are some secret texts where they say that the world is created in what we call the four elements: earth, wind, fire, and water. But what does this all have to do with what we're going through right now? Like, do you have any idea, Sherman?
Yeah, I think at least they I don't know how to phrase this as far as the like the actual elements go. I just think it's all different facets of the same thing. You know what I mean? And you can't really exclude one element when referring to the elements because they're all quite literally. You can't have one without the other. You know what I mean? You need air to have fire to breathe. You know what I mean? They're all so interconnected, but it's just the, I guess, if you will, illusion that we see in the physical world that we live in of how separate they are, but only because um, I think a lot of us just aren't as in tune to how very much the same they are.
Right, but like the thing is I'm trying to figure out like when you say that without air we won't have fire, like that's what I'm trying to figure out. How did fire come into being from the air itself?
Mm. That's a very very good question. I can only take a hypothesized guess here, but just as far as the elements go, like I said, they're all just so very interconnected that they're all really just one and the same. It's just that each element can't really stand on its own without the other because you need that combating force.
The combating force.
That combating element, excuse me, to I feel like be in existence to if at any point cancel out the other one or to allow the other one to be. I feel like.
Right, right. Like that's the thing that I actually found out in many Taoist texts where everything comes from one another, and that even air, for example, without air you can't have fire because the thing is fire actually breathes upon the energy of air. You find that a lot with flames, how like flames lives off of oxygen,
Totally.
but somehow there's an energy blast that almost caused that air to turn into fire.
Yeah, like it's like it's quite literally like just the interconnectedness of all of the elements are required for any of the elements. I feel so. If you were to remove one from the equation, I can't really go into the uh. Yo, Chad, what's going on?
Hey, Chad.
Hey, let me get my headphones. Hang on.
Yeah, go for it. But
Yeah, in fact, yeah, we are actually talking about like the elements and how like we because the thing is when I read the Bible and they said that God created the world in 7 days. That's what questions me a lot. Is like, how come 7 days? You know?
well, seven is seen, as far as I know, and don't quote me on this, but as far as I know, seven is seen as the number of completion, if you will. But then again, relevant to the times, relevant to how it was written, what was going on then. I'm sure a lot is up for, well, all of it's up for interpretation, but as far as I know, 7 is, a complete number, seen as, a perfect number, if you will, I guess. But don't quote me on that. I'm not too sure.
Well, like you actually brought up a good one, but the thing is I want to know how is it a perfect number? Because, like, for example, there's other strong numbers, like for example, 3. 3 is also sacred.
Hmm.
4 is also sacred. Let me see, 2, the duality of yin and yang from Taoism is also sacred. 1 or unity is also sacred. So, like, why number 7?
You've quite literally got me. Chad, do you have any input on that?
Yeah, hey guys, nice Sherman, nice to see you. I haven't seen you in a while. Andy.
Yeah, good to see you too, man.
Yeah, good to see you back, man. Because seriously, I try bringing people in, and yet today we only have 2 people.
Yeah. Yeah, I actually just got home. I've been at my dad's all day, and I'm like, and then I got a message from Andy, and I'm like, well, I haven't really jumped in on his Hangout, so I'll jump in here for a while. So you hooked me in.
Oh wow. That's why I need to ask, because seriously, like, here's the funny thing. I don't know if you, Sherman, know this, but if you go to the Forbidden City, I don't know what type of city is that, but go into that kingdom, you'll find that in one of the dragon dogs of the Emperor's temple, you'll find that there's actually the dog is holding a ball of spear that has
That's like the tree of
the
life.
seed,
It's got
yeah,
the
the tree of life and the seed of life. But the thing is I want to know what is it that information of the number 7 that we have missed. Because the thing is everything just it doesn't come out of accidents. We need to
Mhm.
know
Right.
what's going on with those numbers.
Yeah, well, that's pretty interesting. You guys are like asking that, like, why 7? And why 7 is an interesting thing, but the number 7 also one of the main things that 7 is incorporated with is light, because and everything is about light, right? So light, when you have white light going through a prism, it creates the 7 colors, which you get the 7 chakras. And then you have all sorts of synchronicities from there. You have the 7 notes in music, and then the 8th being the next octave. Just like the 7 planets, you have Uranus would be the 8th planetary body that in astrology. So you have that next, which is that next octave, because you can't see that with the human eye, so it's the next octave. But yeah, 7 synchronizes a lot with a lot of these fundamental principles of light or sound, light or sound.
Yeah.
So why 7? I don't know, but it does have a lot to do with the building blocks. And also, guys, talking about creation too. A lot of the creation myths, all sorts of people coming in. So also with a lot of the creation myths throughout the world is in Egypt and stuff too. It's a circle, and then things coming out of the waters or the circle. I have Marty Leeds' Pi in the English Alphabet book right here. And this is an amazing, amazing book. He's actually got about 4 books, and then there's volume 1 and volume 2 of this set. Amazing information in here, and it talks about all this stuff.
Oh wow. Because the thing is, that's what I was also asking, because like whenever I read about the number 7, somehow the chakras always pops up in my mind. And then let me see, the 7 colors of spectrum is also on there. And like, yeah, you brought up the fact that it is completion, but that's what makes me wonder about the universe is how come number 7? Like, why not 8? Because 8 is also a bodhisattva number. I don't know how you call that. 9 is the master number, but why 7?
Yeah, I think 7 in mysticism too. You have 4 and 3. You have 4 represents
The 4 elements. Yeah.
4 represents Earth, and 3 represents heaven. So 7 is the combination of Earth and heaven combined, and 7 kind of rules our physical realm. you know, with the chakras and with the light.
Yeah, but like for example, why not
What's
try
up,
11?
Mohammed?
Like for example, like there's 11 on there, which people say that's a master number. But like, how come our creational world is like not in 11, but it's like a lot of our physical world is like in sevens.
Right. Well, that's the way the universe is built, and I kind of explain a little bit besides that. So our universe is built on there's like basic building blocks, I think, that are. I'm just thinking out loud here. But you have that 4 and that 3, which is a 7.
Yo,
And that's kind of a building block, and then you have pi, the circle, and splitting the circle in pi, which is another building block, and then you have phi, or the Fibonacci sequence, which again is the symbol for phi is that circle, which is spirit. So you have the Holy Spirit, you have the whole the circle, and then you spirit, which is the symbol of phi. You get the Fibonacci sequence, and that's another building block of nature and creation as well. So you have kind of these building blocks building on top of each other in a way, and they all kind of intermingle to create kind of like this hologram universe. And I guess you would need the circle and pi as a transcendental number. You need that for a universe, and then for anything to manifest, you also need the Fibonacci, the phi. But 7 is kind of interesting, but it does marriage the 4 and the 3 of the heaven and the earth. That's just my rambling.
Yeah, no, it's okay, dude. Like seriously, even we're trying to explore here, you know. The thing is, it's like that's what I noticed also, and when you brought up the comment about the Fibonacci sequence and how our universe is also what we call a hologram. But like, I wonder if any of you have an idea about this. But like, how is the Fibonacci sequence represents our universe as a hologram? Like, what does it say about us? Because the thing is I can spiral all the way until like infinity, and like, what are we trying to achieve from there?
All right, Andy. Sorry to depart from what you're saying, but here's what because Marty leads in his cipher regarding the English alphabet and pi. He does the cipher by 7. He counts up 1 through 7 to the G. So 7 days of creation, he counts up A, B, C, D, E, F, G, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And then he rests on that 7, on the G, the Masonic G, rests on the 7. And then he counts back down, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, all the way to M. And then he repeats that same process, N through Z, and then the resting point is T, the tetragram. So you have the G and the T. But anyway, so what I wanted to read, though, is that here's what Marty says. He says, language is nothing more than sound, and sound is nothing more than vibration. Vibrations tend to completion in 7 stages, and since the words we speak are vibrations, we should assume that speech and the construction of our alphabet should no doubt follow the law of 7.
Oh wow. You know, that's what really got me interesting, because the thing is like, for example, if I were to say namaste, everyone knows that word already, but like the thing is, if I try to like put it in alphabets, you know how I don't know how in the world is that a sacred word, you know?
Michael, were you gonna say something, man? I saw you.
Yeah, dude, I saw you were a little silent over there.
Oh no, I was just playing around with Jimi Hendrix.
Okay, cool. I saw your hand up. I wasn't sure.
Yeah. Hi guys, jumping. I kind of was in the emotional state of wanting to read this and stuff, so I kind of ignored saying hi to you guys. But
Hey,
thanks for joining in.
Bring it up to the show, man. Bring it up to the show. We need to know this, because part of knowing creation is how we gonna create that reality, man.
Yeah, no, totally. I think it was really interesting. That was really, at least for me, Chad, that was really spot on. That was pretty perfect. Go ahead, Muhammad. What's up, man?
Hey man, what's going on? No, I was just saying hey, just joining in.
Namaste.
Hey,
no,
dude.
Chad, I think that was really, really on point what you just read, actually, and that's really interesting. I think because probably so much can be tied into just the numerical numbers. Honestly, from probably 0, 1 through 9, like just I know somewhere in there it would have to be impossible for the golden ratio not to come into play, and among other things. But I'm sure just to see how everything ties in. But I guess an end result or beginning result of that kind of revolving around 7 is really interesting, and maybe it's just always been seen or just always comes out to be that number of completion, or just the easiest number to be built off of, or anything like that, really.
And another synchronicity is that the Jewish menorah has 7 as well, and you can do some really cool, interesting stuff with menorah. But also in this cipher, the word, if you use Pythagorean addition, the word 7 comes out to 22.
Mm-hmm.
And you take 22 divided by the 7 letters in 7, or 22 divided by 7 is pi. It's 3.14. It's 3.142.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Is like pi is somewhat what we call a master number, because the thing is 22 is a master number.
Pi, the pineal gland.
Yeah, there you go. Like pi is like taking the master number and try to like express it in a 3D world. You get pi.
Yeah, Michael, I'm sorry, what did you say? I didn't catch that.
No, I just said pi, the pineal gland.
Oh, okay.
Can you help me know what that is? Because seriously, I didn't know how does that correlate with the pineal gland.
I think he's just saying pi, right? Pineal?
Yes, pi or pineal gland. Like, is it, does it have anything to do with it? Like, because the thing is because the thing is, yeah.
Yeah, the 2 letters. 2 letters, P-I.
Because
If
the thing
there was
is,
no
like, for example,
pi,
like,
there'd be no pineal gland. It would just be like Neil gland.
because the thing is like, that's the question is like, when I look over creation and how how creation is coming for us, is that on the Bible, I always read that on the 7th day, this God consciousness rested. When the 6th day, he created everything and have completed whatever he needs to do. That's the thing I want to know, like, when they meant that on the 7th day, this so-called God consciousness rest. So what is that supposed to say to us? Is it completion?
On one level, what that is if you look at the Chi-Rho symbol, it's actually 6 point. It's actually one of the. I mean, you can go into a lot of different areas with this. I'm sure, but if you take the Chi-Rho symbol, which is like an X with another line through the middle, so there's 6 points. Now if you can, now it's a 2D. Now the Chi-Rho is a 2D dimensional picture, but if you think of it as a 3D image, you have up, down, forward, back, left, and right. So you have 6 points, and the 7th that you rest on is the center point. So you have 6 directions in the universe. So there's 6 cardinal directions in the universe, all resting on that 7th point, the center.
Yeah.
Yeah, that does bring up a lot of things. And
So,
like,
I don't know if you guys watch Stargate, but that's like it's
no,
similar.
like seriously, like you did. I do know what you're talking about.
But it's similar to Stargate when the I don't know if they did it. They probably did it in the movie more. Actually, they're rebooting that series. They're actually going to make the new Stargate trilogy coming up.
Oh, nice.
Nice.
So they are rebooting the franchise. It's not going to be like SG-1, like the TV series. It's going to be more like the first movie. But anyway, that was their big conundrum was deciphering these 7 symbols, and then Daniel Jackson, the character, he realized that 7 is just is a point in space. So you have 6 points, and then your 7th point was the origin point, and that's how the Stargate travel was possible. But it's the same concept. You have 6 directions and then 1 point in the center. Which again, this is all like how you'd create a universe, right? So we have
Yeah,
pi,
exactly. In fact,
we
you
have
have to have.
pi. Yeah, so we have pi, we have phi, and we have the directionals.
Well, that's like the thing because like you have 7 directions in creation, in order to complete your creation. But also the
Or 6, and then you rest on the 7th point.
yeah, but like here's the like
Or
I don't
the
know
liturgy,
about how
the circle.
valid this argument is, but like in I actually had a chance to watch Spirit Science made by this guy named Jordan. I guess you guys know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, we know Jordan.
Yep.
I'm
Yep.
sure.
Yeah, he said that when God rests on the 7th day, that means he completed what we call the seed of life. And like creation, however, just all they need is just that seed in order to actually grow into what we call a tree. But like, to what extent?
Yeah, but that doesn't. Yeah, but that doesn't say anything. That's just. I mean, that's gibberish right there. And I don't mean to.
Because
Sorry,
that's
I'm
the
coming at it from this different place. Go ahead.
oh,
I'm
it's
sorry.
okay. But like, here's what we need to know is because I had to bring up this so that way I can make sense of what spirit science wanted to speak about. Like, of course, like we know that when when it first started, everything always starts in like from a consciousness or somewhere that has long left its entity. Like the information is already there, but all it does is just reorganize itself.
Consciousness.
Like, do you guys have any thoughts about that? Because that's what I sensed from a lot of times when I actually had a chance to go to psychology, where I do counseling with some kids, and I found out that what started out as a small problem, like because it's the information, the anxiety, all those stuff is there, and what happens is when they took that next step to the point where they that leads them to suicide or lead them to depression, anxiety, panic attacks, you name all those crazy stuff. That's what uh, that's what I always have curiosity about. Like what does Carl Jung was trying to tell us here? Or
Call you.
yup,
Yeah.
that's the guy.
Yeah, and you can get into the psychology of that, and I have a couple of comments. And I'd like to hear what you guys think too. I have a couple of comments on that. But before to explain my gibberish comment, I mean, you were just like, I don't deal with spirit science all that much, and I try to if you see my Facebook comments May 30th and like lately, I kind of dismiss a lot of pop culture in this kind of realm, but you're just saying like, I mean, the things that you're throwing out, the number 7 and what you were saying, don't in the context of what you were speaking of, have nothing to do with each other. It was just like conjecture. It was just I wonder about. It didn't have any direct correlation. That's kind of
Well,
why.
that's what I'm also trying to figure out is the
If
direct
it does have a
correlation.
direct correlation, yeah. And that's I understand that. But I thought you were gonna like say something because I thought you were gonna quote something that had something of meaning, and then it didn't. It
Well,
didn't.
it's just like I'm trying to like make sense of all those stuff because the thing is the seed of life has a lot more to do than just simply it's a sacred geometry that is meant to like actually put us in some kind of hallucinations.
Okay,
It's
my
actually
bad.
more.
My bad. The seed of life, is that 7 circles?
Yeah, there's actually
Okay.
7 circles on there. That's the question that I'm trying to figure out is like, what does those 7 circle mean? Like, why does that so many of these ancient civilizations, when they try to like draw this tree of life, somehow they erase that 7 outer circle and just leave us with an incomplete circle, right? Like
Okay.
only
Yeah.
left us with the seed of life.
Okay. Yeah. My bad. My bad on the whole gibberish thing because I'm actually wrong. I just wasn't thinking about what you said good enough. I apologize. So the seed of life is kind of what I was explaining before, because the seed of life is geometry, right? So you can take 3D dimension. I can take 4D, who knows? But I know you can take 3D dimension. You can take a seed of life and create three-dimensional objects, right? You can create all the platonic solids, for example. I think out of the seed of life. So it's kind of like what I was talking about before. You would need those 6 circles to get your 6 dimensional points, and then the center of the 7th. I think so. In sacred geometry, I think is the exact same thing as what I was trying to explain with the Chiro.
So
I'm talking out loud here.
yeah, trust me.
I'm being completely open
well,
and
like
just
that's the
talking
thing.
shit.
I want to know, like,
No, we're listening, man.
yeah, like what is how many platonic solids are there? Because the thing is I don't learn geometry very much.
I think there's 5, if I'm not
Yeah,
mistaken.
I
I
wanted
think
to
there's
say,
5.
yeah, I think, I think, yeah.
There's 5 platonic solids? Let me try to
Yeah,
read
and they
it.
stand for earth, fire, water, air, and ether.
Ether, that's right, the last one.
The five Chinese elements.
Yeah, the platonic solids.
Yeah, there are 5. There are 5 platonic solids.
Oh, okay. Yeah, okay. I see.
And then just to reiterate what the 5 platonic solids is they're the only shapes that can that can be in the center of a sphere and have each point touching the outside of the circle.
Yeah.
Right. But like the thing is which one? There's like 5 platonic solids that I saw on here. It's called the tetrahedron, the cube, octahedron, dodecahedron, and bleh, whatever it is.
Isohedron's the last one, yeah.
Yeah.
Isosahedron. Like the thing is which one is fire, which one is air, and all this stuff. Because the thing is they have a symbolism on somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
I think they could be any one of those.
Because seriously, like I don't know, but like somehow when I look at these shapes, it almost feel like it's familiar, you know.
Bonnie just came in right
Oh,
after.
finally, Bonnie.
We
Hey,
need
Bonnie.
you.
Hey.
Well, apparently, Bonnie.
Mom's like, what? She thinks I'm talking to her. I'm gonna close my door. She's like, who are you talking to?
From what I ran across, at least, and this is just in my internet search, apparently it seems as if the cube was representative of Earth, tetrahedron fire, dodecadon the universe, and I cannot read the last 2, but yeah, one is air and one is water.
Yeah, because like here's the funny thing that whenever I touch a cube, like do you guys ever found out that the cube looks very grounded, right? It's more compact.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Like for example, if I were to lift a metal cube, I would definitely want to just drop it already because I can't handle all the weight on there.
Excuse me.
But when I put like a what do you call it, tetrahedron, somehow it feels
Bonnie,
so
we
light.
need to do a check-in.
I know. I didn't want to interrupt the combo though.
Oh my God! It's always that. I always forget.
I wanted to do a check-in. I was gonna encourage it, but I was gonna wait for it to be like, oh, we're not talking about anything.
Well,
That's
we
that's gonna be
we
at
were
the end of
just
the
having
show.
fun about creation over here, and you just popped in, Bonnie.
Oh. Okay, well maybe we should do a drop-in and everyone can say hi and how their week was and
Sure.
maybe
Yay.
something you're grateful for and excited about because I know Sherman's probably excited.
Yeah, Sherman's a
What's
mess
your
right now.
countdown?
Whatever.
Going to Shanghai.
Yeah, Thursday.
Thursday.
Yeah, crazy, right? So I'm
Wait,
pretty
That's
much.
when you're going to Shanghai?
Mm-hmm. I am locking everything down at my job, and I'm getting ready to go home Monday and pretty much just stay in Maryland with my family and friends until I leave on Thursday.
So is that like an internship opportunity in
Mhm.
China?
I am going to study traditional Chinese medicine for a month at Shanghai University.
So wait, is this like a degree plan?
No, just a month-long internship that I ended up getting a scholarship for. So.
Oh, sweet. In fact, if you if I were you, I would also post that link up on my YouTube channel because the thing is, I'm not joking. Some people will start looking for that.
No, I totally wanted to.
And I also like seriously, I also want to learn about it because I'm planning to get my master's degree on Chinese medicine also.
Nice. I wanted to document my adventures, and post them up. But China being the extremely open country that it is, they do not have YouTube or Facebook. So, yeah. So
Yeah,
we're
it's all
gonna
right.
we're gonna see how that works. But it's still cool. Like I've most definitely already Skyped with people in China, so I know Skype works. I'm pretty sure Google Hangout should work. So I most definitely still want to get in on some of the chats. I'll probably be
So China doesn't have YouTube, is what you're telling me?
It's
Or
Oh
blocked.
yeah, yeah, they don't.
China, like all of China, or just like Shanghai?
I
Where
think
you're
it's. I believe it's like. I believe they have an alternative one, but the government, I'm pretty sure, is ex-nayed that. It's a little too.
going?
Well, here's the thing, guys. Like, if you go over to Hong Kong, it's a different story, really.
Is
I
it?
actually,
And that was my whole thing. I was assuming like all of these people are proxying anyway. You know what I mean? Like I'm sure with everyone in China, like there's no way if you want to get to something, you're gonna get to it. But it's probably like a good way.
I think it's just regulated a little more, like over there.
oh yeah. So let's
Um,
get down and.
Okay,
down to the
so let's maybe
introduce-
then, since Sherman, maybe you can be the first one to start since
Oh, that
you
is
just
so
say
sweet.
introduce yourself in case that nobody knows. Some people don't know who you are, and say what you're up to. You kind of did that already, but you can say. Or another good question for our intros is always, what do you need support with? What can we support you? How can we support you?
Cool. Well, as everyone
Keep
knows,
it 2 to 5 minutes.
Oh, Bonnie,
Okay.
you're making this sound like a support group or what do
I
you call it?
know,
One of those.
but it's so
This is
it's
starting to
support
sound like a
group.
support
We might as
group.
well do it right.
I am not
well,
joking. Someday I should change that group name to Educare de Spiritus to support group or the Ascension support group rather than that, and then I'll charge some extra money on y'all for
There you
attending my
go.
webinar.
Well, everyone, my name is Sherman. I as everyone knows, getting ready to go to China for about 4 weeks, and I've had a really crazy busy week. Everything is kind of coming down to, I guess, coming to a point because I'm getting ready to leave, so I'm trying to secure everything in my job in Virginia before I go back to Maryland, before I get on a plane to go to Shanghai. But let me see. Aside from that, I even still had a great week. Something I could use support with. If everyone could just send up positive energy and prayers that my plane does not disappear, that would be most definitely
Oh, okay.
Sure.
Positive
How
energy.
about I'll just like put a blessing on whatever plane you're on, and then I'll do that for a change.
Yeah, that's that pretty much be it. I'm not even like, and I don't want to sound like morbid or depressing. Like I just don't want my plane to get lost. Like if something happens with my plane, at least they can find it. But yeah, I just can't have it flip out and then there's nothing. So
That's
yeah.
what got me interesting about people like you is that like when did you start fearing planes getting missing? Because is that from the Malaysian airline incident?
Yep, it just kind of yeah.
I will tell you, Sherman. I would say just remember that like just your the guardian angels. They'll tell you everything you need to know.
Totally. So but yeah, that's pretty much everything. Whoever wants to be next, go ahead.
Thanks, Sherman. I will totally, definitely send
Thank you,
you
Sherman.
and your whole trip love and
We'll send you some Reiki.
energy.
Awesome. Thank you guys.
Send you some
I salute
Reiki.
you, soldier.
Who wants to go next? Okay, I'll go next. I'm Bonnie. I facilitate meditation. I'm really excited because this week I am going to Doreen Virtue's angel card reading class with Michael to get to learn how to do card readings for angel cards. So it'll be fun and yeah, get a little certification. So I thought that would be fun. And then I'm also doing a Qigong workshop that's like 4 days long. Just a couple
What?
days
No way, dude!
Yeah,
You should
Michael's
put that link up because seriously, I'm not joking. I I need to go to the workshop also.
That's what I was saying. I was saying like Andy would love to go to that, but I don't know because
Well,
I get
next
like
week,
pretty.
150
next
bucks.
week I'm getting a job
4
training,
days
so yeah.
long.
Yeah,
And what I
I got
could use
Andy to
support
join the
with,
Qigong group.
just, let's see. This is pretty supporting, and I like how you guys are here, and that's yeah. So anyway, someone else can talk now. Aho. That's what we used to do. If you're done talking, you can always say aho.
Chad.
Oh,
Michael, you want to go?
Andy.
Do you want to introduce yourself, Chad?
Oh, see, I think I've met everybody here at least once, a little bit. Michael, I don't think I've talked to you a whole lot, but yeah, we did have one night discussion. That was one pretty long. But I'm Chad, and my whole deal is a school of the holy science for the most part. So you'll see me emphasize Marty Leeds, which I'm doing tonight, Bill Donahue, and Sandro Spinacci, and I'm also getting into older literature works that I need to read on all sorts of fun stuff, and I'm staying away from a lot of the. I've been kind of frustrated lately this week on two things. The first thing is, which ticks me off because I love the discussion. That's why I love you guys so much, is because we get this discussion. I learn a lot from you guys, and I'll spit my BS out there too. But you guys, any of you guys follow Danny Wilton at all?
Mm-mm.
I follow Pythagoras.
All right. Well, Danny Wilton he's got a huge following, right? And he does all this cool stuff with the Orion Nebula, and he does a lot of School of the Holy Science type stuff, which he has been a part of, or not a part of, but he was really stealing a lot of stuff from there, and stealing stealing's a really harsh word, but I'm kind of getting this idea that he kind of takes stuff and then twists it and then presents it as his own. And then when somebody on his channel like starts talking stuff to him and kisses his ass, he absolutely loves it. But then when you start like dropping knowledge on his page that argues with him a little bit, he blocks you and will delete your comments and posts.
Wow.
There's some people like that.
And before I even knew about him, that was I happened to see those types of comments, and I was like, oh, that's kind of a dick move. But I'm gonna give this guy a chance or whatever because people are just bashing him. I'm like, well, I'm gonna see what this guy's got. And then I met a guy who had been who was a student of the School of Holy Science, and him and I resonate real well because of that. And we talk all the time now. And then him and I were both like saying a bunch of School of Holy Science stuff on his channel, and he was all liking our comments and talking with us, and everything was all cool. And then like a couple days later, David also got blocked after he disagreed with him. And then a couple days ago, I saw an argument where where a guy knew his shit, right? And him and Danny were going back and forth, and this guy was like busting out all these hieroglyphs and these pictures and just really stating his case like really well. And it made Danny look kind of stupid and confused a couple times, even though Danny has this huge ego, and he was just bashing the other guy the entire time with ad hominem attacks. And that whole post got deleted, and then he reposted his original post, which was like this huge expose of videos. He's constantly putting out YouTube videos like left and right. But anyway, I didn't need to get that off my chest a little bit.
Hey, yeah, I'm on my way outside.
Obviously.
That's
all right, man.
But this stuff like that pisses me off because you have, and my other thing I get pissed off about is when people, I don't know, this new age people kind of frustrate me a lot of times too, because like this new internet, Reddit, Facebook, like meme, like, oh, I smoked some weed and I look at a whole bunch of spiritual memes, so I'm enlightened, like I know everything, and everything's peace and love, and if I just be very, very passive and very, very loving and let people push me around in my life because I just want to go with the flow, and I don't know, it's just that's kind of where my headspace is sometimes.
Wow.
Because
I think memes are helpful though.
You know,
They are.
you
I
have a good
absolutely
I
point
love
on
think
that
it's
one
great. It
because
can be a doorway maybe for some people. Like,
yeah,
oh, maybe I should look into
no,
this more.
seriously, it's
So that crazy
Be,
guy.
be,
you're
be,
not
because,
alone.
but the only reason I say that is because memes help you not take yourself so seriously.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's the
I agree.
point.
I agree. I actually get a lot of synchronistic information from memes and stuff too. So like I'm thinking about something and then I get a meme and I'm like, oh yeah, that's what I'm thinking about right now.
Hmm.
And then,
Oh
Yeah.
wow.
I mean, so I incorporate that into my brain functions and stuff. So that's not what I'm saying. It's just certain people that piss me off, and I need to let that go. And I
Is
need
it
to let that go
Facebook?
because I'm in a space where like I want to like really concentrate on all these ancient texts and these and all these books and stuff that have like just mind-blowing, amazing shit that you won't find anywhere else. And I want to push that information out to people to read these
Hey
books and stuff
Chad,
instead
if
of this
if
other
you
stuff. I
really
think people are missing the boat and are following people like Bashar, who I don't have any respect for after watching a few of his videos. After somebody told me to watch his videos, I just. All right, I'll shut up.
well, hey Chad,
We hear you.
remember just like whenever you're sharing this information, I already give you all the chance you need, and that's why I brought you up to the webinar today because I'm posting this, and in fact, 300 people will be watching this. You know.
Yeah.
And so
I was
yeah,
just
and
gonna
another
say,
thing is, yeah, and another thing is, have you ever thought of the Modern Mystery School before? You ever heard them?
No, but like the few that I've seen, I haven't liked because when you have stuff on Facebook, you can't really. It gets too crazy, and especially when there's a lot of people, it just gets so crazy. And I think a lot of this stuff has to do with find good information and delve into it on your own, and people really need to be doing that kind of stuff. And my whole message is like the whole point of spirituality is to absolutely love yourself. Everything about, and this is why I love the Paradigm Shift group so much, is because I connect with you guys, who I love, and then and Joel, you guys know, we joined up the same day in Paradigm Shift because we thought we were gonna get some info from Santos's prison or jail release. But the last hangout from Paradigm Shift, it was me, Joel, and I went actually all the way to 7:30.
Oh wow. Wow.
In the last like hour and a half, 2 hours of that, it was just him and I, and he helped me through a lot of emotional stuff that was been blocking me for my entire life, and he dug deep into my emotional state and really freed me from a lot of shit. I obviously have more shit to release, but
Well, it's okay.
That's
Come
really
on.
interesting. You guys talked till 7 a.m. on the last Paradigm Shift after Hangout. Is that what you're saying?
yeah, like the after party. The after party went to like 7:30 in the morning.
Yeah, the week before that, we went for 23 hours. Like, I was in and out of it, but, like, AJ was in it for 23 hours.
I
Like,
think it went longer than that.
well, I remember I ended it at 23 hours because we ended
that's
it with
2
a
weeks
meditation, and then someone had just walked away from the computer but was still, like, in the chat, so I think that they did end up, like, picking it back up again. You're right, even after we were like, okay, we're ending this, we're closing this off.
Yeah, yet just because of how the so-called synchronicity that they carried on for 24 hours, even when I was actually doing my yoga right outside the door. I was like, what the heck, guys? You crazy?
It was hilarious. It was really...
That was delirious. I'm not joking.
Wait, no. Wait, Sheldon's
Whoever
gonna.
did that
No,
was mad.
But yeah, but Joel helped me with all of the emotional stuff that I've had with my childhood and those same patterns that repeated regarding loss, like through my entire life.
Oh wow.
And so yeah, I was like crying and everything. It was pretty big. It was a pretty big deal for me. And so my last few days have been a lot better because of it. And I've been turning this corner for a long, long time. I was actually gonna post a meme, Michael. I was gonna actually post a meme about an aircraft carrier and how long it takes to make a turn. You know.
Oh wow.
I was gonna like relate that to like someone's
Yeah.
life. Like you can say, "Hey, I'm turning a corner," but like when you actually turn a corner, it's a very long process
I know.
to do a 180. You can't just up and do it. And I think that's a lot what spirituality is. I think that's what all the ancient texts are all about. I think is shedding your old self and becoming a new person in your new skin. That's the snake metaphor. There's a whole bunch of symbolism, like the rose cross or whatever. All this stuff is about going through that crucifixion in your life and being reborn and all that kind of stuff. And however people want to symbolize it or say it, but that's what it is to me at this point, or a big part of it. And I think not that many people truly love themselves enough to get on with their life. Really.
I mean that's deep.
Yeah.
That's
Ditto.
true.
Michael, this could be a good segue into your section, unless Chad, you.
I was waiting for the introduction to be over.
Chad, is there anything we can support you with?
Yes. I'd love to support.
Like I said, you guys support me every week. I can't wait for tomorrow night's hangout, and the Paradigm Shift community has helped me a lot with the human interaction aspect. I'm a huge loner. I've talked to another person recently from Paradigm Shift who says, I felt all alone, blah blah blah. And then you get into this community, and you don't feel alone anymore. And I've heard that from a lot of people. I have a second cousin who I talked about last week. We got a chance to talk a little bit. He wants to join Paradigm Shift. I started to connect with the Wisconsin Paradigm Shift people to renew and get that going again. So yeah, I'm just thankful for all this connection. That's what I need, is this connection with humans instead of solitary confinement.
Yeah, it's important. Okay, well, thanks for being here, Chad. Who wants to do next introduction?
Rex, get your butt in here.
Sherman.
Come on.
Hey.
Speak up, boy. Alright, give yourself a big roar, man.
You want to hear a roar? You want to hear a roar? Okay, here's a roar.
I'm ready.
1, 2, 3.
That's funny, the microphone's like, we're not going to let this happen. Rex, do you want to do an introduction and tell us how your week was, and if there's any way we can support you in 2 to 5 minutes?
Yeah, sure. I'll
Go
tell you
for
what. Let's see. It's weird, dude. Life is a weird journey, man. That's all I gotta tell you. And I feel like the universe, my secret little project was to get everyone to open up to love, but I had to disguise it, because if I said it was love, everyone would be like, oh, you're just a hippie. You don't know shit. You're just like a yuppie. But I decided to go undercover for the past 6 months and go really hardcore, disguise my love underneath it all. And if people were if they were curious enough to dig and realize it's a diamond offered to everyone, and everyone has access to this love, you don't need to compete. You don't need to be special. You don't need to be I need to, I'm different. Love me. No, you already are different. Why do you need to be loved? You are loved, dude. You don't have to be different. Just be yourself. You don't have to be like anyone else. Everyone has love.
Yes, man. That's what I would do.
Hey, hugs. Hugs are very intimate. I only give those out to the people I feel close to. I don't give free hugs. I'm sorry.
Really? You're not a free hugger?
I don't either.
No.
I don't either, man.
I used to be that time when I was a child.
I don't charge for hugs, but I'll just tell you what. If I really love someone, the kind of hug I'm talking about, the embrace I'm talking about, is it's like a full-on body, spirit, heart, love. And then when I hug them, it's it's not the physical. It's they feel the love. You know what I mean? And you have to earn that. You can't just get one of those. You got to develop that bond. You can't just instantly manifest.
Oh, well, how about this, dude? Since you have been drained out for the past few months, why not give all of us a hug?
All right, I'll give you some. I give you a special astral hug from my third eye chakra into your.
Hey guys! Oh, by the way, I forgot. You brought up my about third eyes. Watch this. Ready?
Okay, let's watch it.
Do you see my third eye right here?
Oh, that's hilarious.
Oh
Well, I
wow.
really hope this
Some
works.
teenager I met today just drew that on my head.
Oh my god.
Oh whoa.
Have you seen
You just
Stargate?
did
That
that.
reminds me of Stargate, dude.
He just did that, man. That's no joke.
That just came
That's
out of
no
nowhere,
joke.
bro. Yeah.
That's a synchronized moment right there. See, that's the thing you gotta write down, man.
That's magic, bro. That's magic.
It was a flaming
I was talking
third
about
eye.
Tesla,
dude.
Andy, you have to tap into the Tesla, Nikola Tesla energy, dude. The electric Jesus. You need to start modeling yourself and learn from that.
Yeah, that's what I was doing.
He's your he's your guy.
Do you know who's my guide? Because I don't think not many people do.
Who?
The teenagers I work today.
Really?
I'm
Right.
not joking. You haven't seen how these street guys, they really changed my life when I was at the Riverside Foundation. I talked to Bonnie about this over the phone several times, and she's like, I should take a look at this. And I was like there 6 hours, get burned by the sun, and oh my god.
I bet.
Okay. But are we still doing the introduction?
Yeah.
We're
I'll finish my introduction by saying this. I'll finish it by saying this. So for my outro, I'll just say I learned to manifest a rain cloud and sent it from Seattle down to North Carolina because my friend over there is like burning up, and she's like, "Law, can you do anything?" I'm like, "Yeah, I'm good friends with Floor. I'll ask my brother to help you out." and she showed me the tracking, like the tracking of the cloud moving its way to North Carolina after me and her co-created and manifested this. Dude, it's possible. You can totally manifest shit. Yeah,
Yeah,
Nimbus.
I can tell.
Come to me, flying Nimbus.
I've been playing with manifesting this week.
No, I'm not joking. I did what Rex did also. In fact, I actually made the sunburn several times in my eyes, and it was like, oh my god, it hurts.
Okay,
No,
I
Michael.
experimented with it.
go for it. Let's be official, bro.
Michael,
Let's go.
can we hear your introduction?
Michael, come on.
Ground that
Whoa.
energy before you lose it, Gotan.
Hello, I'm Michael. I know about each and every one of you, and I think I've seen Chad before. Some of us have met physically, some of us
We'll meet physically in
Non-physically.
the future, very soon. As the
physically
Angel
in the
Carter
future.
Verification.
Yes. I'm very happy because I'm going to see Durian Virtue this Monday or Moon Day
I thought it was Tuesday.
and on the 9th. On the 9th.
It's exciting, bro.
I'm gonna stop bugging you. Okay.
And I feel like I do know my life's purpose, but I feel like each and every one of us kind of like beat ourselves over the head, like if you feel like you have this mission and like what you're supposed to do and type of thing. So I feel like going to see her will kind of confirm and kind of like clear anything up if I had any doubts like what it is and certain things. And she's like a hero of mine, man. She stood up for what they call the indigo children. She's like the mother of like all the indigo children, crystal children, light worker, whatever fancy
Earth
jazzy
Angel,
name you
all
want to
that,
put
man.
on it. Yes.
Exactly. Exactly.
So I'm very happy about that. I'm happy that you all are here. I'm happy that Sherman's gonna go to Shanghai.
Yeah.
Yes. Go Nietzsche. Wait, that's Japanese. Oh,
Because
sorry.
Japanese. Just say Tasha Hao.
Sorry.
I really do believe that I had a past life there. So it's just crazy. Out of all the places in China, he's gonna go to Shanghai. It's just it's crazy.
There's one really quick blip on that. Michael, I think it's really funny you mentioned that because and it's really funny you mentioned that too, Rex. Actually, I studied Japanese all through high school. I ended high school in AP Japanese. I've taken private tutors, so I've got a really interesting language basis. But Chinese was actually the first language I ever started studying, like, and the end half of elementary into middle school. So I think it's really funny you both actually mentioned that because out of everything, and trust me, like I'm a Japanophile, like everything as of recent has all been Japanese, and just for it to come full circle, and then for me to be going to China, even before I've ever gone to Japan, where I could most definitely like talk to some people, I just think it's really, really funny. So I think something's got to be there. We will see what happens.
Oh yeah, buddy. Oh yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, no, I'm sorry. Please continue, Martha.
No,
Alright.
you're allowed to
Oh.
talk during introductions.
Totally
You're
thunder,
allowed to
totally
talk.
thunder, bro. Archimedes, what you gonna do?
Is there anything else I'm supposed to say?
How can we support you?
Oh, how can you support me? Just sending the positive energy, and I never thought of this as a support group, but but I appreciate it, and I'm just know that I'm sending the same amount of energy to each and every one of you, and yeah, I mean, just raise the vibration, man, and I hope to be a light on your path, then I feel I'm doing my job,
Okay, Andy or Mohammed?
Mohammed. Well, it seems like Mohammed decided to mute himself. I guess I'm gonna.
Mohammed unmuted
Oh,
himself.
okay, never mind.
That easy.
Yeah, sorry, I'm a little bit sick, but yeah, I think I've met a lot of you guys here before. I usually try to join in when I can. Yeah, my name's Mohammed. I'm currently just doing psychology. I live in Perth, studying psychology at uni, but yeah, much as I like it and enjoy like learning about it, I'm sort of just having trouble really just finding out what I really want to do, but at the same time I'm not worrying myself too much about it. And yeah, I don't know. I'm really grateful for all these hangouts we've had, all the things I've learned and will continue to learn, I hope. And yeah, just joining everybody on this ride, just going with it. But yeah, thanks.
Cool. How can we support you?
Right on.
Well, like I said, like you guys have been like even now when we're talking these conversations, every conversation I learn from, like, it helps us discover things that inside ourselves that we all sort of share and experience, and we can relate to each other and realize that we're not different. We're a lot similar than what we really think. Sometimes I get amazed. Like, I don't know. I go outside and I think, like, holy shit! Like, there's so many of us. There's so many of us out here, and I don't know. I just feel it's a crazy world. It's a big world, and yeah, I'm just really grateful. So thanks.
Totally.
Wait.
Scattered all over the place.
Such a weird
So-
feeling alone in such a big place with so many people.
Right.
Yeah, I know. You guys
Yeah.
are lucky. At least I
You're
had
stuck
to
inside
go.
your body.
What?
That's all. You gotta get in your body and get out of your mind.
Yeah, no, totally.
Dance
I've
it
been
out.
You know, that's what makes me.
You have to lose your mind and come to your senses. What?
That's what really got me. Like, when you guys mentioned about meeting people like you guys are lucky, because I'm not joking. When I was a little kid, I had to go through all the struggle for 19 years before I finally found you guys.
How old are
Oh,
you?
come on,
You're
bro.
like
We all had to
20.
do the same thing, man. We all had to do the same thing.
But like mine
Dude,
is like I thought I'm heading down to the suicide route.
Andy, that's the test of faith, bro. You survived. We all made it. You think you thought it's supposed to be a test? If you give up, then you lose. Then you fail. Then you gotta try again, and you go to the same barrier. Like, do you want to give up? If you say no, you're an idiot. You're like, oh, come on. All you have to do is poke your finger. The next corner is right there. The wizard's laughing at you. He's like,
I can't give
I
up.
scared you, didn't I?
That's
I
why we
sound like
can't
the
give up,
boogeyman.
man.
No, dude.
Well, that's the thing. That's why I told you I had to be persistent for 19 years, and it finally came.
Doesn't matter
That's
how
why we
long,
can't give
bro.
up.
Doesn't matter how long.
Well, like, alright, so since I'm the last person, then let's get down to the little crazy stuff. Alright, so my name's Andy.
Wait, what about
just
the
like,
other Muhammad?
What?
oh, wait, what's going on?
Go for it, Andy.
Alright, so my name is Andy. You can call me Shadow Buddha or Navy Buddha because that's how I go by the username whenever I go help out with teenagers most of the time. Well, like, one of the
fancy.
things,
Buddha.
yeah, Shadow the Hedgehog.
Oh, so you're Shadow, huh? I see.
Yup.
They call me Knuckles. They call me Knuckles, baby.
Knuckles.
Where's
Yes.
Where's Sonic? Michael, you
Sonic
should be
Heroes.
Michael is Sonic. That's Sonic right there, bro. He's got the hair for it.
And Bonnie, I guess I should call you, let me see.
No.
Tails.
Tails?
No,
Oh,
'cause
yeah.
Sonic goes Super Saiyan, man. Sonic goes Super Saiyan.
Yeah,
That's you, Michael.
along with
you.
Shadow the Hedgehog.
Uh-oh.
Okay,
Uh-oh.
Andy, how was your week, and how can we support you?
My week is crazy. Like, right now
Oh,
I'm-
I was gonna
I'm
try
actually
and
at
get
one
the other
place.
guy to
I'm
help.
actually at one place, but then I'm at another hour because the thing is I'm actually working with a bunch of kids with like ADHD, with trauma, with all sorts of crap. And
Oh,
right now,
dude.
next week,
That's awesome.
I'm going to be working at a camp where I'll be dealing with a bunch of indigos, and most of them are like 12-year-olds.
Whoa. Dude, the kids are hella advanced now, huh?
I'm not
Like,
joking. I've been through all the kids
Can't
who
work.
have who are like indigos that are having traumatic stress disorders.
Yeah,
Oh my god. Some of
exactly.
them, they don't even talk to me, and I have to like really get them to play basketball sometimes.
All that electronics, man, and all that
Yeah,
brainwashing.
they were up
and,
on their
you know,
smartphones and everything.
Music.
Well, I think that electronics is their only escape route. Like,
But like here's the funny thing. When I go to the River City Youth Foundation, like Michael, you should go down there. Like most of the kids are like indigos. They were under a lot of violence when they were young. I'm not joking. If you
Yeah,
volunteer over there,
sure, man.
they talk gangsters, but they are real indigos. I can tell right at the bat.
You can tell
Hey,
Andy's
man.
pretty telepathic.
Okay.
Yep.
hey, man,
Go ahead.
the
So, yeah,
circles
like-
that you can get in, you know.
The only support right now I can have to go through, well, and also another thing is because I can't come to Dorian Virtue because I actually have a job that I'll be working for 40 hours because I'll be
I
working
actually don't, so I'm gonna go doing. I'm sorry, I'm still in like celebrating quitting my job mode.
yeah,
Yeah.
I'm actually getting the job that I want to do where I'll be working with indigos
That's
on
awesome,
art.
man. No, I'm really
I
glad.
mean, I think, yeah, I mean, we're learning at During Virtue. We're learning to, you know, we'll be our intuitive senses will be on a whole nother level when we come out.
Michael, you could be like our wingman. You go in there, you learn all the information, and you share it with us, bro.
That's all I do, man. That's
Well,
what
you're
I'm saying.
Sonic,
That's
hello.
really all I
Okay,
do.
let's let Mohammed have a chance to introduction.
wait. I thought
For me,
One
like,
Mohammed did already. It looks like there's another person here.
yeah, I
Yeah,
know. That's
sorry.
actually a friend of
Same
mine
guy,
named
but
Robert.
it's just messing up. Like I don't know. It's because I'm trying to get the camera working on my phone, but I don't know what's going on. It's just got me.
it doubled.
Yeah.
Can you hear
yeah.
us?
And like,
Yeah, I can hear all you guys.
So yeah,
I thought
for
there
you
were
guys-
two Mohammeds for a
We
second.
can hear
like,
you too.
Yeah, I can hear you.
Do you want to say your name? Because I've never met you. And just hi. Anyway, we can support you. Or
Cleaver of Holla.
What's
Crosshair.
Oh, this
going
Robert.
on, guys? It's Robert, yeah. Cleaver
Did
of
you want to do an introduction and say hi, Mohammed?
Hey,
or,
Bonnie, I didn't tell you what I can what I need help on. Remember?
oh, okay.
Let Andy finish. Yeah. Finish.
All I need to do is while you guys are like doing your thing, the only thing that I need support with is to help support the kids for me because I'm not joking. These kids they need more help than all of us do.
Okay,
Oh,
3 chicks for Andy and the kids.
Like,
Yeah.
I'm not
That's
joking.
good,
I have
man.
like hundreds of kids coming after me right now, and they're like, "Oh my God!" They want me to say, "What can I do, Andy? I feel like my life is homeless right now." That's like
My
most
I
of
bad.
think you can get
most of
into
the
that
20-year
circle.
olds give me that impression.
I think you like. I wouldn't say because Andy and I did a lot of volunteer work at this place where these kids are. Actually, they were adults. A
Develop
lot of
mental
them had.
disorders.
Yeah,
You can.
I could get with that circle, man, but I don't know as far as the correctional facility people. You know, I understand you like. I mean, I'm not judging or anything. It's just I don't know how well I could get into that circle. You know. Besides that, I like hip hop. You know, I mean,
Yeah,
Mind!
sure.
You gotta free your mind! Come
you
on,
gotta free
bro!
your
Come
mind.
on,
I
Morpheus!
feel like I missed something.
All
Free
right,
your
Robert,
spine.
go up. I want to hear
Thank you,
this.
Andy.
What's going on? What's going
We're
on?
having a little introduction, and we're actually talking about sacred geometry afterwards because seriously, today is a big giant creation day.
Yeah.
Would you
Seriously.
like to say just a quick introduction and hi and how we can support you in like a couple minutes?
Muhammad?
No, you.
Oh, me? How you can support me? Or what do you mean?
You can say just an introduction and then a drop in of how your week was.
Yeah, like tell us.
I was
Oh,
going to ask y'all how the conversation went because I wrote down the bullet points. It's one of the reasons I hadn't been to the seminars. It's not that I'm not interested. It's that I haven't been able to. And it's kind of just been a conglomeration of ideas as they go along. We've got the bullet points. We don't really follow them. So I wrote them down this time, and I was curious as to where the conversation was at in relation to the orientation.
Oh, we're
To,
still
We're
doing
still
the
getting
introduction, bro.
still an introduction. Okay, yeah. Well, my week it's been crazy. Actually, I'm here late because just in the middle of converting an RV. You know those FEMA RV trailers that they had. We bought one. We bought one for this motorcycle rally they're having in Austin, and we're in the process of putting all the septic tanks and generator. And it's a nightmare. So.
Oh, they're having one of those again.
cool.
So anyway, that was my week. How about you? You guys?
Good. Okay, so now that everybody's done their introduction, we can talk about whatever the heck we want, because...
all right.
Yay!
Let's bring up sacred geometry because seriously, oh my God, I try to get Sherman to talk about this, and we got
But
Chad on there. But like, what about you, Rex? Like, seriously, I've
interesting.
seen even in China those what do you call it? Those dragon dogs.
The
They have
flower of
like
life.
yeah, they have that seed of life ball right in their
Dragon
legs.
Ball.
But like, that's what I was trying to ask. Like, what did that supposed to do with the
The
emperors?
lion, right? The guardian
Yes,
lion.
there you
Yeah.
go.
The garden. Same thing
Let's
with
just say the Anunnaki. Let's just say the Anunnaki came and influenced our cultures, and then I don't know if you want to believe this crap, but like our future selves in the timeline where we lost touch with spirituality, where all technology became grays, and that's why you have all the murals of grays everywhere, because we back in time basically inserted ourselves into history and screwed up everything in order to like fix this timeline. So that it's almost God was like, dude, you guys fucked up the other timeline. It's okay. We'll let you do it over. It comes to help yourselves out in this, and you can't fuck it up. There's no way you can fuck it up. If they try to do nuclear, we'll shoot it down because we already know what's gonna happen. That's why I like the Back to the Future meme, like the Gray's Almanac. Why do you think it's called Gray's Almanac, right? The Grays are teaching us how to time travel, how to stop certain events from happening, and that's why we have these like predictions about dates and times. Everything's tied back to geometry and how space-time is malleable because it's not fixed, and the gravity is it's curvable, it's flexible. Time and space is flexible based on your willpower. So if you touch, like, that's why like Einstein was talking about relativity. Time is relative. So if you're touching a hot stove, it feels like forever, right? But like when you are enjoying a day on the beach or a cool breeze, it feels like so ephemeral, so like quick, right? It's all based on it's not just perception, but it's like time has a fluid kind of nature. So that's all I want to say. And time travel is connected to space and geometry, because geometry, two-dimensional, it can be translated to three-dimensional. That's why you have blueprints for architecture and skyscrapers. Everything is connected. So if you draw things on 2D, you can manifest into 3D, anything you want. Or you could do from 4D or higher down into 3D. Anything that you conceptualize, you can create. Everything you put on paper, even if it's words. Words are powerful. That's why the Bible is powerful, because those are spells, and everything that is written is a spell. It's a grimoire. It's a spell book. Yes. If you know how to decipher it, you can use those words as weapons, as protection, as a shield. That's what it is. It's magic, bro. But they've obscured that, and they don't want the mundane people to know that it's magic. But it's people like the mages, like the priests in the Vatican. They all know how to use magic, and it's all words, man, and imagery. If you pay attention to the imagery.
That's the thing. Because
but
the thing is like, here's something that I really don't get. Because seriously, like, when I look over ghosts and all those crap, and oh my god, it really almost scared the hell out of me. Like, there's this one time, there's this one time I actually watched this documentary on this show called The Haunted, where this guy who has, like, he's an empath, and somehow, just because of how he does it and how he manifests himself, he ended up getting a bunch of spirits coming into his house. Like, I mean, what the heck? Like, seriously, I'm also an empath, but how come, like, where's all the spirits? They should be coming to me already.
Well, because you're too powerful, bro. The spirits only prey on the weak. They don't like to pick on those who are, like, sorry, because we can kick their asses, you know what I mean? Like, we know how to touch them back.
They don't fuck
like,
with me, man.
It's not about the physical, dude. We are.
You know, that's what really got me so crazy about how you did your sunburst. Like, here's something really odd that I did last time, is that I actually tried sunbursting several times and gazing at the same time. Like, after I actually did that, and then bam, my eyes were like, oh my god, it's like about to hurt, and my skin is like, ah, it's burning hot! Ah!
Oh.
That's what happens when I was doing my sunbursting. It was so maddening. I thought I'm a goner.
So you have the points up. You said, oh, did we lose him? We lost him. What you said we were talking about tonight, Andy,
What?
We're talking about sacred geometry.
I've got them written down.
Yeah,
what's your name again?
Robert.
Robert, that's right, okay.
Robert, what's up?
First was past, present, and future. And I was kind of curious. Define sacred geometry first. We have to dealing with the boundary here. So define sacred geometry.
Well, here's the thing between geometry and sacred geometry, because
Wait,
like,
I thought we were talking about ghosts.
Yeah, but like geometry, like think of it as a large circle. Sacred geometry is like the application of geometry in such a way that creates magic. That means it helps you go beyond the physical realm. That's what sacred geometry is. Just like in psychology, we have transpersonal psychology.
I guess that depends on your definition of sacred then, wouldn't it? Because
I think sacred meant secret. Secret meant sacred.
if that's the case, then yeah. So I guess in the future it's not going to be so sacred. It's just going to be geometry. And technically, I guess.
Yeah, it's just sacred. It's
geometry.
supposed to be geometry, but somehow people put the sacred on there. I don't understand.
Yeah, I was going to say all geometry is essentially sacred.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
No,
It's
I
like,
think the thing is
came
we
from-
haven't recognized how sacred it really is.
What about you, Chad? Like, what would you think about all geometry? Because the thing is I actually had a chance to learn geometry when I was in high school, but like they were doing nothing more than just algebraic proofs, you know. I was like, wow.
Well, I guess sacred geometry is, like you guys were saying, geometry that is used in a way to reveal secrets that's been occulted and hidden.
No, it more that the geometry itself was hidden, not its function.
Yeah, because the thing is if we were to say that geometry, if certain aspect of geometry is secret, then what makes the other aspects of it? You know, it's like
The knowledge of the geometry itself doesn't necessarily mean the knowledge of application, but
it's something. Yeah, it's like something
Well,
very sacred about geometry.
I have an idea. I don't know. This just popped into my head. Basically, like, think about it. I mean, I can say at least when I took geometry, I wasn't looking at how sacred it was because I didn't know. You
Right.
know, and I look at it as like it's like they say, like the best secrets are like hidden in plain sight. It's like it was always there. We just never shifted our perception to look at it that way. And
they don't impress on you the importance in you know, regular, I guess, grade school, the fundamental importance of geometry to our existence. In fact, they don't even really question your existence. It's just you are, and that's it.
Oh yeah.
The hell with the rest
yes,
of it, you know. So they don't want you to make those ties, so they don't even give you the language to speak about it, really. You know.
but if I was able to connect the dots, I know I would have been so much more interested.
Absolutely. So did I. Yeah.
Yeah, same here, you know. Like, that's what I always say to my instructor is that if you were to teach geometry like this, I would rather get an F in my report card.
Yeah.
And I told him, like, seriously, you guys taught me to go to college, and yet you're not telling me how sacred this geometry is. Wow.
I think we would have had so much better grades. We were able to connect all these dots and realize the bigger picture. See, that's the thing, man. I think that's what what school attempted to do is that, like, the knowledge was always right there. But we didn't look at it that way because the way they talked was so, like, okay, class, this is what we're going to learn today. Yeah, and so we didn't look at it that way. But if we did, see, I think that's the thing, is that it's kind of like Morpheus. It's like I can show you all the doors, but you have to walk through it. It's just like they opened us to that world, and we were stuck between the boring shit and then. See, it's like the thing, like, you can see the forest for the trees. It's like what they were telling us became the trees, and so we focused on the trees. But the forest was the big picture. If that makes sense.
I might be wrong, but correct me if I'm wrong. Everybody here kind of had a problem with the, you know, this is how it is, and just deal with it kind of approach to education, right? They give you the curriculum, but they don't give you why. Any sort of a why, really. You know, when it all comes down to it, and that was my issue.
And just lack of teaching you how, like, letting you think, or teaching you.
They've got their rigid curriculum that you have to follow, and that's. You know,
yeah, it's another form of preaching.
Yeah.
I always thought that, like, they, you know, like, throughout school you get told over and over again, you know, to think critically, to think outside the box, that I think they ironically put us in. You know what I mean? Of our minds. Like, but throughout, you know, primary school, high school, middle school, all of that, you know, we get told over again, you know, you got to think critically. You got to actually think about these things when no one's really doing that at all. Everyone's just sort of.
You don't have any emotional basis to give a shit, really. You don't.
Yeah.
I think, see, truth be told, if, say, like, Einstein and Isaac Newton and all those people were there and we went to school with them, I bet you they would have the same exact attitude.
Yeah.
I bet you they would, because not only did they pretty much kind of add on and invent all the shit, but, like, you have to think out of the box in order to get something to put inside the box.
Yeah.
Really, there is no outside the box. Every time you go past one boundary condition, you're inside another.
Yeah.
Seriously.
Yeah, the point
Yeah.
is that once you actually pass through all the boxes, you don't even know what to say, you know?
There aren't well, there is no end to the boxes.
That's the point. Like, but once you realize that there's endless amount of possibilities, you ended up
Your
like have
perspective.
no way to like talk it to yourself because it's almost like as though you already found out that you already know everything and everyone knows everything, just like you. So, what's the point of telling?
Something I read earlier had to do with the word enemy being completely removed from your vocabulary, because when you get to the point you realize that we live in a multiverse of infinite possibilities, and everything's happening, and everything's got an order to it to some degree or another.
Okay, Rex, seriously, what in the world are you doing over there? It seems like he's.
Fucking blast.
You know what? All right, Rex. All right, Rex, stand back. All right, stand back. Right.
Oh,
Listen on the stairs, you know, they're just right there. Powering up, man.
Alright, I lost track of what the fuck's going on.
I have finally transcended to
He's-
Super Saiyan 3.
Yes!
And now I'm going to blast Rex.
I'm trying to read about the Vesca Pisces and two trinities overlapping, and then all I hear is screaming. That's all I know what's going on.
But we're still on the first bullet point: is past, present, and future, and
Oh, he's doing Qigong over there. He's doing.
I was just trying to identify what we were considering sacred geometry, so we could locate it in past, present, and future.
Yeah, especially like what I was doing, like that's also one example of that, because the thing is when it comes to like creation, I always thought of how Goku can blast that energy wave so good. You know, there's a lot of stuff in Dragon Ball that I personally didn't even think of.
There's the thing that but energy can't be created or destroyed, only transformed, right?
Yeah,
so just the same thing with sacred geometry, is that it was always there.
Well, you're all familiar with Nassim Haramein now, right? Given this topic of conversation, and how he's designed, or he's pretty much identified the fundamental geometry of the universe. You know, it's a 64 tetrahedral grid that has the cuboctahedron in the middle. You know what I'm talking about. And
yeah, but like what does
the vector equilibrium, the cuboctahedron in the middle. In other words, everything is a building block off of that. A 64-bit tetrahedron with the cuboctahedron as the stabilized.
Is that also referred to as Metatron's cube? I'm not 100% sure. I'm just
superimpose Metatron's cube over that grid, and they can also superimpose the flower of life perfectly over that grid. That's
okay, yeah.
That's how
Chad, do you have any idea about that? Because seriously, when it comes to sacred geometry, especially like solids, I have no idea about.
Well, that's how the sacred geometry that they drew in the past, and all of the symbols were, if you turn them into a three-dimensional image, you create these structures, and it was their way of, I guess, simplifying it is to the point that they could use it as a symbol, as opposed to,
But like, what is it a symbol of what? Because that's the thing. I even tried
geometry of the universe, and universes, multiverse, how it all connects, the geometry, how it all connects, and the forces involved, and that's kind of what his studies is about right now.
Well, that's what I was having a little confusion about that part. Is like, especially like let's start with the tetrahedron, because that's like the simplest form of solid that I can think of right now.
The
It's
simplest
like,
sonic solid, is it not?
yeah, it is. But like, what does that symbolizes? Because the thing is I tried understanding the symbolism behind all those.
The simplest form, and that's why I created that page, Polarity in Genesis, because you know, you see that for us to be in this what we call the third dimension requires that third, or that actually requires that fourth point. We call it a third dimension, but it's actually a fourth point, a fourth axis.
Oh yes, yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So, you know, for there to be three dimensions, there's four axes, right? So it's that fourth point. So it's
It's interesting.
It's actually three. It's actually three axes in 1 point.
three axes in 1 point.
That's what I was talking about that earlier before you joined up. The chi rho symbol you have is an X with another line segment in it. So you have six directionals: forward, back, up, down, left, right. So that's 3 planes. And that,
Right.
and that we're talking actually about the 7 days of creation. So you have 6 directions all signaled around the 7th point, which is the day of rest, the 7th point.
6 points around the 7th, right?
Yeah, and then but then you'd have that would create 3 planes, and then around a 4th central point.
Right, and then what is it? And there's a geometry that describes that too. And what is it? Is it a hexagon? Or that can be divided, or a hexagon that can be divided to that particular.
Well, if you unpack a hex or a box, you get the Christ cross. In a box, in the center of a box is kind of what we're talking about in a way.
Right.
It's interesting that Andy, you picked this topic because pretty much all today I've been well, I attempted to, I believe I got it right, to tune my guitar from 440 hertz to 432 hertz, and I've just been listening to music and kind of playing back and forth and seeing that how I feel, kind of really just listening to the feeling of the music, and I noticed a huge difference. Matter of fact, to a point, it's kind of like, the way I could describe it is like when I became vegetarian and I stopped like looking at all the, I was just turned off by just all this different like mucus producing foods and certain things. And so it's really interesting. It was like a very similar type of feeling. It's like, oh, there is a difference between the different hertz, and I don't know why Adolf, well, I mean, it was Adolf Hitler, supposedly, but he had all the instruments supposedly tuned from 432 hertz to 440 hertz, which is now like standard tuning.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
That's the thing.
I'm
Like,
so confused about that whole thing.
yeah, when it comes,
Like,
well,
I've read the articles and I don't get it. I mean, I get it, but
when you come with 432, it's actually a very sacred number because I actually had a chance to add up the digits. It's actually a number 9. It's the master number.
so why is 432 supposed to be bad and 1's supposed to be good again? Like,
Well, the thing
no,
is,
no.
well, here's the thing. Like, Bonnie, you might not notice this, but like, if you try to listen to a binaural beat at 432 hertz, it actually activated your crown or your pineal gland. Like, I'm not joking. I actually tried what Michael did, and it happened the exact way that he was thinking. Like, after just listening to 11 minutes of just binaural beats, I was like in a trance, or even I was like so depressed that day because it was overwhelming.
Yeah.
so isn't the 432 what we're like always listening to? And one of them,
It's
Supposedly
440.
432 is the hertz that vibrates, that's in tune with like nature, in the sense of like outside, like when you hear birds chirping, when you just hear, supposedly that's the natural tune, but our tune was changed, supposedly, I think in
Yeah, yeah.
1939 by Adolf Hitler. And what I noticed the difference in the music is that 440 is very like your fast food lane like type of thing, like get you like all riled up and kind of like just like very, I don't know, want to move back and forth and jump around and all this. And when I listen to 432 hertz, I notice this. There's a lot more feeling and it's a lot more ease to it, you know.
Well,
Yeah,
supposedly, if you close your ears and there's something that hum that sound you hear is supposed to be 432 hertz as well. So it's the sound resonance of your biological body, I believe, also.
yeah, exactly. In fact, that's
Oh,
what
okay.
that was the same beat that
Don't
whenever.
quote me, but
No, like seriously, Chad, you were right. In fact, this is the same type of beat. Whenever I sit in a quiet room and meditate, like I can hear that same beat gone off of my head.
and I believe it's also the same frequency if you sit there and just go you know.
Yeah, that's the vibration of the
Okay.
universe, also.
Yeah.
And then that goes right back to pi because the ohm symbol is pi, right? It's this part of it is representation of pi. You have the 3 in the squiggle.
Yeah.
Everything goes back to pi, man.
It does, seriously. Like read these books, dude.
Yeah, like
Okay.
This one too. These 3 books are all pi, and it's all like it deals with vortex math and all sorts of crazy shit.
What about phi?
Yeah, phi too. Phi and pi are huge.
Yeah.
I find that interesting because they chose to name the gland, supposedly the master gland, they chose to name it pineal, and they had to put the PI in there.
Right. Well, that's in the Bible, right? The Bible, he talks about he goes to a place. I forget who the character was.
The land of Peniel,
Yeah,
Jacob.
exactly. Was it Jacob?
Yeah, Jacob.
yeah, that's what makes me have to ask, guys. Like, what makes it a pineal gland, not like just a neal gland? That's the thing.
And of course, you have Jacob's ladder, which is the
Jacob's
Kundalini.
ladder, exactly.
Which is the Kundalini. So you have it right there.
I think that
if you guys
they're
didn't
all,
know, my big thing is meditation and astrology in the Bible. So.
Yeah,
oh, yeah,
Chad.
I mean,
Like,
dictating the metaphysics.
no, like seriously, Chad. Here's the thing. I want to know, like, what does, like, how come the ancient people call it the pineal gland? Like, the thing is, remember how Michael broke it up? It's like pineal. Or like, how come pineal but not like anything else? You know?
I think there's something very special with the letters, the PI.
What about phonetics? I mean, there's been talk about the perversion of the way we speak in general, just the tones that we emit and the way they
Oh
resonate.
yeah.
So, that ties into a whole nother subject of
Yeah, and also here's
It correlates, man.
phonetics.
like here's the funny thing. Like, you remember how Chad brought up the fact about language and how we speak? Well, here's what I notice is that whenever I listen to how English speakers or even German speakers speak like to one another, I found out that the way how they speak is like almost very impersonal, you know?
Well, absolutely.
In fact, that's what I noticed. But whenever I go back to my homeland from China or Vietnam, I can't believe their language is like you can sense how personal it is.
It's emotional, right?
Like, I'm not joking. Even Rex, he's a Vietnamese just like I am, and yet he can be able to get what I'm talking about, you know? If I were to speak to him in Vietnamese, like, he would know how personal I am.
It's an emotional language.
It is.
I think it was really interesting. I remember a while ago, this was one I think my first chats way back when, but Noah was in here, and he was talking about all the study he does in Hebrew and how there's the actual vibrations with his native, with his actual, with his native tongue, and how we've actually lost that in the, I guess, creation, borrowing of the English language to where we no longer have those roots that are, that lay, in line with those stronger vibratory frequencies, versus, a lot of native languages that are quite literally, still native and still have that very fundamental,
I believe so.
yeah, vibration. I just wanted to mention something about pi. I don't know how much validity this has, but it was something I saw a little while ago. I ran across on Facebook, and I thought it was pretty funny. And it was like pi is an infinite number, but infinite to the point whereas there's everything exists in pi. And they were saying, like, if you were to break it into like ones and zeros, or you would break it into like JPEG files, or you were to break it into like any actual sort of imaging, I guess, equation or anything, you could quite literally come across, for example, if you were to break it into like zeros and ones and you were to get pictures, you were to break it into numbers, like for pictures, for instance, I had seen it was like within pi lies
Everything.
yeah, quite literally. What you see, between every day of your life, the day you were born, the last thing you'll see before you die, like everything lies in pi, and I just thought it was really interesting.
That's what makes me really.
Maybe that's why we make pie.
That's the thing. It's like, is that like a fortune telling number?
Right there here for fun.
That's awesome.
Here, can I read something to you guys?
Whoa. What?
There's actually a whole page here on language in one of these books, but I'll just read like a little paragraph here.
Yeah.
So it says here, God saying, "Let there be light," is yet another reference to all of creation being manifested by a word, utterance, or a sound. If sound itself is not only a symbol, but also a ratio, then maybe understanding sound and words are the keys to understanding the universe. Maybe we have to look no further than the very words we speak to understand who we are, where we're going, and why we're here. And it also mentions too how universe is just one verse, of course, and then pi is that one verse in a ratio.
Awesome.
Yeah, that's the thing. Is like the thing is like, here's the funny thing. Like when I speak Chinese or even Vietnamese, and like if I ever have a chance to go to Turkey, in fact, they also speak their language is like, it's so personal. You can tell, like, whenever I say merhaba in Turkish, people are like, they feel that connection, like as though I am talking to you personally.
It's kind of a culture thing too, isn't it?
Yeah. In fact,
You can
the word
engage-
merhaba doesn't actually came from Turkey. It actually came from Arabic.
It's an Arab word.
Yeah, and from Arabic, it actually like somewhere it borrows from Hebrew, you know.
Well, the languages, some of the languages, I believe, are interconnected.
Yeah, totally. All of the, all of the, we'll
Especially
take it
Hebrew.
back to the, what we were just talking about, the biblical stories. And, the Tower of Babylon, for instance, we all allegedly used to be able to communicate, and then, we lost that somewhere along the line, which I also think is pretty an interesting look at our language and how they've all developed, or I guess.
But it was not because two guys decided to build a tower.
I'm pretty sure that holds deep validity, Michael. I'm just saying.
Like there's something
No,
about.
I understand, man.
Well, that's the thing. Like when you guys brought up about the sacred geometry and how does this correlate with language, this is what makes it even more interesting. Is because the thing is geometry and language are interdependent upon one another, because you know how language, they came from geometry. Like the Hebrew language, even the runes that I studied from Old Norse, they also came from sacred geometry.
Okay, I have something I got here that's interesting that you say this. This is from a book. The book is called the Book of Enoch.
Yeah, I'm familiar with that book. I do have it at home.
It talks about these 5 languages, and they call these languages the languages of enlightenment, which this is what someone said. One of the things I learned the other day about chanting, going way back when, is that chanting actually vibrates the bones of the head and there's certain bones that vibrates, which actually shakes and jiggles the pineal, which actually reverberates through the chamber, the cranial chamber, or the God chamber, or cathedral chamber, or whatever you want to call it.
King's
and
Chamber.
Yeah, and there's also codes in the chanting, but the toning, like there are 5 languages, and you can choose either of these 5 languages, but one was Egyptian, another was Sanskrit, another was Tibetan, another was Hebrew, and then there was another one that was Chinese, or I guess Cantonese. I guess there's.
Yeah, I heard a lot about that.
So it's interesting. And one of the things they said that Egyptian and Chinese, I believe, activates the visual cortex. So when you see these images, it creates word pictures in your brain. So in other words, you know, the Egyptians weren't just drawing pictures just because they thought it was fun. You know, there's a purpose.
That's a really, really interesting point you make, Michael. I can only speak from the little bit of study I've done with Chinese, but I think that's really interesting only because I know as far as the writing goes, it's quite literally pictures, all of it. They're pictures, you know what I mean? And so, and with, you know, at least, I don't know about Cantonese, but I know, you know, Mandarin, with a tonal language, you know, I'm sure that's got to go hand in hand. You know, when you're speaking, you're seeing, whereas so, I don't know. I mean, we all speak English here, so I don't know about you guys, but I don't generally think or see things in English when I'm talking about. Do you know what I mean? I don't. Do you guys?
Yeah, I
Um,
noticed.
Not really.
Yeah, exactly. In fact, that's the funny thing. In fact, when I speak my native language called Vietnamese, which actually spin off from Chinese, we found out we actually visualize a lot better. You know.
I mean, it just, yeah, for me, it just makes sense for a language that's so tied into, you know, pictures, quite literally. All of the writing is quite literally, you know, pictures put together and broken up. So that's a really interesting point. At least I know for Chinese, that makes perfect sense for me. Any
Some of
other?
the
Hieroglyphs.
some of the words just feel like they're just words.
Mm,
They're not
yeah,
really expressed.
Yeah, Egyptian, same thing. When I tried reading those chicken scratches, it's like, oh my god.
Hey, man, it is not chicken scratch.
Sometimes I had to admit the hieroglyphs are like confusing to me, you know.
I,
And I don't think
but
we've gotten them right, to be honest. I don't think that our linguists are like, they're not on that level, you know. Think
Yeah.
about
Yeah,
I think the thing is that
yeah.
they knew their pineal glands. There's one of the things I heard about. You got to remember, Egypt was like a school, so everybody went to
Yeah, it
Egypt
is.
to learn. Everybody
Yeah.
went to Egypt to learn. So the higher sciences was always
It's where the Greeks
somewhere
got it.
in Egypt, and the Greeks got it from Egypt as well. So
Yeah, and like
I'm saying
and India is also
there's
one
an
of them.
interesting thing. Okay, I'll say this. Basically, I was reading just like I guess another word they call it medunetter. But basically, I was reading Egyptian words, and I just read and I spoke this one word. I think it was the word for mother. And then a second later, like, my mother just shows, like, ready to pick me up. So there's definitely
So you think that
something to it.
their interpretation of the hieroglyphs and you think that their interpretation of the hieroglyphs is completely correct, or because there's this gap and
I think we have to stop. I think we have to stop looking. See, the thing is, I think their genius is hidden in plain sight. In other words, like, they would know their.
well, Well, we're speaking of secret sacred geometry.
Well, yeah, that's
Yeah.
it. Well,
Yeah.
I think like I know what you mean, Robert. Like here's what I noticed about language and the sacred geometry. It's like when it comes to geometry, from what you guys understand about language, is that it's not about the words. It's about the energy that you put into the words.
Yeah, the meaning.
Like for example, when I speak Swedish or even in Icelandic or even study Old Norse, when people say mother, they say maldir. That's when you listen to that word, you felt like it's very uh, sacred to you, right?
Mhm.
It's muy mother. That's my mother. It's like because the thing is since I actually when I was a little kid, I actually studied 7 different languages. Like Swedish is one of them, and Tibetan is later on in life, and Sanskrit. But the thing is like Tibetan, like when I first chanted the word, like the way how people chant, and even the Tibetan Buddhists, they actually sing the language. They don't actually speak the language. You know?
That's a really, really interesting point you make, Andy. I've noticed it with Mandarin, and it's one of the things I love
Same
about
thing.
Mandarin is such a tonal language, but and I've noticed this with a lot of languages actually, but it has a flowetry to it that's musical. And it's so
Yes.
cool for me, and for me and my learning style, at least I guess, like it's so much easier to remember because you just kind of have to remember the melody, and you have something to go off of, and it just helps me, I guess, with the connections in my brain. But
Yeah,
yeah,
there you go.
and that's one thing I don't really. I mean, and also, I am a native English speaker, so I just may not notice it because I'm so used to it. But that's something I don't believe English really has, that melodical flow that a lot of
I don't think so.
that a lot of
English.
other languages.
Yeah. Well, let Rex talk to you about how Vietnamese work because I'm also a
Yeah,
Vietnamese speaker too.
so I'll just tell you, I was watching Days of Future Past recently, and I don't want to spoil it, but it's that there's a portion in the 70s during the Vietnam War, and Mystique has to infiltrate and talk to this North Vietnamese guy. And I'm surprised that Jennifer Lawrence even attempted to speak, but does she speak phonetically in an Americanized way? Only a few words that she got the melody, and the guy who was the North Vietnamese officer, he spoke lyrically, it sounds so musical. Like when there's a certain style that you speak in Vietnamese, and if you just speak phonetically, it sounds dry and sounds it makes you realize that the way Americans or English speakers, when they speak words, they don't really know if you go to South America, they have those signs, the I don't know they have those squiggly signs in Vietnamese that you have accents. Yeah,
Yeah, I
yeah,
know what
there
you're
you go.
talking about, Rex, because I speak Vietnamese, and that's actually my second language.
Oh, no, I mean, because with my brothers, my brothers from Vietnam.
Yeah. They also mentioned that bilingual people, if you're bilingual, you can actually reduce the rate of your potential, mental deterioration when it comes to your
Yeah,
memory.
Oh, wow.
Exactly, that's the thing. But that's the one thing that I really want to know about. What makes the Asian language so lyrical and
I
musical to
think
me? Like for
I think
example, like when I go to Turkey, they also speak very lyrical. Like when I say merhaba to somebody, they say merhaba Andy.
Even Spanish is so beautiful when I hear people talking
It's
Spanish.
romantic
I have to
language.
stop and just I just want to listen to them talk. I don't even know what they're saying, and I'm like,
it just sounds good. It just sounds pleasing to the ears. I think
Go ahead,
Chad
go,
had
go.
wanted to say something.
Yeah, I'm gonna do a screen share here real quick too, if you guys don't mind.
Yeah,
go
sweet.
for it.
See if
Well,
I can. I don't know how to do this, so I'm gonna try and share a picture.
You just press, yeah.
All
I
right,
was
can you
gonna
guys see
say,
this?
Press
Sweet.
Oh.
we have to remember.
Okay. Let me try to do this. Okay.
Be so Christine.
Oh,
While he's getting his screen share up,
girl, don't be Socratizing me. Don't
All
be
right,
panic.
because
Oh, what the heck? Oh,
the point I want to make is I have learned, especially in the last few months, that you can take the English or the Anglo language, and you can really play with it and have a lot of fun. And it's very, very magical. I learned that a long time
Rex
ago.
does that all the time.
Oye, como vai você?
Yeah, I learned that a long time ago with Jordan Maxwell when he broke down the word understanding, and then like the word asking. So you break that down. It's like if you're going to be asking, you're acting as the king. If you're the one asking the questions, because that's what you would do if you were in front of the king or a magistrate or in like a court dispute. You know, the one that like watch Judge Judy. You know, she acts like the king in the courtroom, right? So she's the one asking the questions. She's the one in charge. So if you're going to be asking, you're going to be filling that role of as king. And then you can do the same thing with principles and the prince of the peoples. If you want to be the prince of the peoples, you have to the principles, and you can play with a lot of different things, a lot of different ways. But yeah, but the Socratesing and play to win my heart is a little bit I'll play on that too. But
you ever notice when a foreign language? I don't want to you ever notice when a foreign language like French or Vietnamese when they curse, it sounds so beautiful.
Oh yeah.
In fact, I'm not joking. I swear at somebody they were thinking I was like just playing.
So you talk to them? Yeah, dude. Like, are you flirting with me, bro?
Like seriously, here's what even more interesting. Like, I don't know about you guys, but like when I listen to a German or even a Russian speak, I was like, dude, I want to back away from them.
The German is a rather harsh language
yeah, and Russian, dude.
Viking.
Like, I'm not joking. Russian. Oh my God, I thought I'm gonna like walk away from my instructor because I can't handle a person talking Russian to me.
Yeah.
Don't mess with the master race.
hey, does Nikolai know Russian then?
No, like seriously,
no.
that's what really scares me. Is like whenever somebody speaks Russian, it's like as though you are having that harsh word coming out. But when I speak to an Indian in their language, it's like, oh wow, they feel so intimate, you know. Even Sanskrit, Tibetan. I actually had to learn Tibetan.
Hey, Andy, I have a theory. Okay. I think that humans were imported here. Like that's my theory. Not in the sense of like, but in the sense of like, for example, we were imported here like consciously, like our consciousness from another species or another planet or whatever. Like we were imported here. Like, we're a bunch of, like, salad motherfuckers. We don't actually belong here. And maybe there's some people that say that maybe the Asiatic cultures were, and the Latin cultures, like, maybe they were originally here. And then a bunch of, I won't even say the other topics because I don't want to comment on it. It's too taboo. But I'll just say that since, Andy, you want to mention the Asians because that's what you are, and you want to, like, if you want us to jump in on that, we can talk about that.
Sure,
but,
in fact,
like for example, just so that other people, because, we always hear about Greeks and Romans, but no one ever talks about the Asians. And I just want to say this. Like, I found out our Vietnamese culture is 11,000 years old. Like, that's way before the time of Jesus and stuff, right? So, yeah, we had flutes and drums, dude. Flutes and drums. That's all we had. That, like, Reiki drumming energy. Yeah, dude, that's elephants. The Indian culture, Lord Ganesh. Yeah, dude, it's... The Indian culture, I'm not saying the Indian, I don't know. I don't know anything.
The champions.
The Aryans, dude, the Aryans. Let's just say that we are all, it's not about white skin. It's about the culture of, like, Hinduism. There's a theory that Hinduism is actually based on this, like, Asgardian ET kind of thing where the Vikings came and they had advanced technology, and they taught Hinduism to like the local natives of India, and that's why the Indians are so different because they have a caste system, and that's what they originally had, a caste system, like a hierarchy. But like the Vikings were trying to introduce them all these concepts, like gods, and they're trying to teach you like what do you call it, mythology, so that you could translate these parables into like lessons, and Yeah. So
Okay.
that's what Hinduism is tied into the area, the original area, not like the white supremacists, like the distorted version, which is like the Nazi Hitler, and how they distorted the swastika and stuff.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
because the swastika is like all over the culture, dude, all over
Yeah.
Europe.
I know.
Isn't it like a traditional, like, wasn't it used originally as a symbol for peace?
Yes.
Yes, it
Solar
is.
cult. Yeah.
It
yeah,
used
it
to be like a
Swastika
a symbol
like
of
the swirling.
love,
Yeah, it's actually the
harmony and
swirling
stuff.
of the four energies in harmony with one another.
I
That's what it
actually
is.
freaked out one day because I ordered these like peace cards through this Reiki site, and I got all these world peace cards. But then another thing that they sent me was these like swastika pictures, and I was like, "What the fuck, dude? Why?" And they were like purple, and like I was like, I'm pretty sure this is a swastika, guys. Like, I really was like, I had to go.
Oh my god! Oh my god!
What
What if Hitler was not really a racist, and what if he was trying to introduce these concepts, but like he knew that we were going to become totalitarian, and he was like, time travel? He's like, oh, you're signing me up for this mission?
Rex.
Hell
there's
yeah,
another
bro.
Hey,
word.
Rex. If you
Swastika,
really,
like,
if you really want to know how Hitler began, I can tell you now because I actually had a chance to read about that guy, so that's why he's my
He
hero.
worked with Crowley.
Well, before you get into
Supposedly.
that, Andy.
He worked with
Uh-oh.
Crowley.
Let's hear it. Let's hear the new voice.
Oh, all right.
Come on,
Yeah, Hitler. Yeah, whenever he took the swastika, the original Indian symbol of life, the swastika, was spinning clockwise, which caused the lines to follow it in a certain direction. What Hitler did is he swapped that around and turned it backwards to symbolize death.
Yeah, the solar death cult. Yeah, like the black sun, like the black sun cult. Saturn. Yeah, but like that's the thing. The symbols can be reversed, and they can be life affirming again. Like, so it's like all these are memes, man. Like even Crowley. Like I know Crowley did some act up shit. Like you know, like you hear stories about what he did to kids. That's what. Well, purportedly, we don't know if that's true. But like I believe that whatever happened needed to happen to get to this point, and then God would forgive him anyway if he what do you call it, asked for clemency, you know, ask for forgiveness, because you know that everyone that's dark and light, there is no dark and light. We're just playing roles so that we can
exactly. That's why I want to tell you about the history of Hitler, because I think I had a chance to know what that guy is up to, because
Well, the thing is, Adolf Hitler worked with Crowley.
It's simple.
But like, no, like seriously, like, do you notice how he became who he is? Is like he actually was.
He was just an artist. Why him?
Yeah, he was an artist, but like he was raised in a very abusive family, and he became who he is. You know.
Yeah.
I think some certain people are created, like they're brought into this world in order to play certain roles, and if we don't step up, then the narrative that they were supposed to carry out, the programming that they're supposed to carry out, like for example Obama, like so many people, like I don't want to bring it up, but we have to talk about it. Like all the I follow the Christians, and they're all afraid. They don't know how to reclaim their power. They're focusing on the past, which is all like, oh, we're powerless. We're waiting for something to happen to us, instead of like creating their reality, instead of believing that they have power and not being powerless, like the victimization thing. If only they knew, like, study astrology, study the stars. Like that's what they say in the Bible. If you study the stars, you can predict the what happens on Earth. You know what I mean? Like the things that are coordinated, because everything that happens.
That's the thing.
Yeah, I think that's a really good point of what you said, and I also think, you know, one of the really big things is people are just so used to giving away that power and that, you know, energy to something external. And don't get me wrong, you know what I mean? Like what you actually said earlier, I've been thinking about it a lot recently too, which really resonated with me as well. But I think in the past, those things were needed. You know what I mean? In the past, religion was needed in the structure that it was presented. But I feel like we've gotten to a point where we've outgrown that. We no longer need it. But I don't know if we're just so
kind of sped up. Time has sped up. At this point, everything's happening. That's the singularity, dude. Everything is happening immediately. As soon as you think it, it's manifested. It's like you cannot escape it. You
that's
are
what I'm talking about.
creating everything. Right now, you're observing it and you're creating it.
Well, we're coming out of the age of Pisces, which is I believe, and we're going into the age of Aquarius, which is I know.
Yeah, that's
So-
the thing.
So that's
The
the
water
energy.
itself.
That's what we're moving toward, and then you can calculate that within the yuga cycles and the 24,000 cycle. I think that's why we see so many monoliths everywhere. I think consciousness rises and falls over hundreds of thousands of years, and that's how we get a lot of this knowledge is from these cycles within cycles within cycles. The zodiac is every day, it's every year, it's every great year.
Yeah.
We've been
You
here
know-
before, dude.
You know,
Been here
that's what brought up into this one personal part of myself is that, like, Rex, do you remember Aaron, who used to be on the group chat?
Not really, but you have to refresh my
Aaron-
memory. Just
Aaron,
just tell the story. Just tell the story. Forget about it.
Aaron, the guy who actually told me like you should go buy some St. John's wort and what do you call it, kava kavas.
I wasn't around for that. I don't remember that. But I'll just
Yeah.
tell you this. After you tell the story, I'll just tell. Like that's why Bruce Lee is like a minor prophet. Like he was talking about being like water. Like Age of Aquarius is all about river flowing, dude. You don't stop to think about what you're doing. You just do it, and then you're like, oh, I did that. And you don't think about, oh, I just accomplished that. I'm not gonna. You don't even have time to celebrate anymore. You're just like, I'm just like living on the cusp of everything that's happening right now, and that's why like the movie The Fountain. Like the whole movie is like the whole point about Bruce Lee is like he actualized himself to the point where I'm done. Like he bounced. He's like, I'm leaving this body because this body's perfected. I have to leave, so I have to go. Like maybe he'll come back in a different form, but he'll be slower, so that because the archetype is created, like the Herculean archetype, Heracles, like the Rock, Rock the Rock Johnson. Yeah, he's in the Hercules movie with like what do you call it? Like he's like the Viagra of they call him the Viagra of Hollywood. If you think of the meme, Hercules. Yeah, exactly, right? The meme, like Ophiuchus, like the 13th constellation, Ophiuchus, the snake bearer, like Hercules, the one that wrestles the lion tamer, the one who conquers nature, the one who tames the beast within and is able to rally, because no one believed in him, and the gods, like, kept punishing him, and Prometheus, like, screw the gods, I will do it myself, and I'll protect the humans. And that's what, like, the whole movie of Wrath of the Titans is, like, Age of the Gods is done.
Yeah.
It's Age of the Humans. We are the supreme now.
That's what every story is. That's what Jesus' story was. That's what Hercules' story is. Samson.
The God
You
comes
name
man.
it. It's the
Human.
hero's
Samson,
journey.
the live.
Campbell would say it's the hero's journey, and the whole thing is about you. They call it history. His
It's her
story.
story.
That's wrong.
Her story.
It's my story. It's the mystery. The mystery is
Our
my
story.
story.
Our
Be the
story.
hero of your own journey. Done.
Well, that's the thing. That's why, like, I was talking about when I watched, what we call it, God of War, where Kratos, sacrificed himself. Yeah, that's what I think.
Dude,
it was
I
all
am the
about.
ghost of Sparta, man. I lost my wife and child in the past life. I have to come back here and deal with this shit. I don't even want to be here, dude. Don't even want to be here.
I'm also the ghost of Sparta too. Hello, I actually slaughtered several of the gods.
You're Dante, bro. I told you, you're Dante. You don't
Anybody
even know
watch
it, man.
that? Anybody watch that video on Facebook where Jesus was a Buddhist monk?
Yeah,
I posted that. I posted
I
that.
believe that.
yeah, I actually had a chance to watch that.
I posted that like
Could somebody
a couple days ago.
link that? Could somebody throw that in the link? I really want to see that.
It is
I fell
awesome.
asleep watching it, man. It was crazy. I had a crazy lucid dream, even though I was watching something about Jesus. It wasn't
No,
necessarily
seriously.
the most pleasant dream.
White Jesus is real, man. Jesus of Suburbia ain't
Isn't
real.
there a big debate, though, that Jesus went to India for a number of years anyway to study?
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, about 20 years ago, I come with a book came into my life called The Lost Years of Jesus, and I read it. It's got like 3 different accounts of different investigators that went over to check out the story. And recently, India has admitted to it.
Well, you know where Reiki came about, right?
Nope.
I always figured it was Japanese. I mean, that's,
No, it got rediscovered in Japan, but it wasn't originally
but
Japanese.
I'm saying Reiki is part of
It's energy
is
itself.
part of the Buddhist some of the Buddhist practices and teachings.
really.
That's why you get the word Vajra. Vajra means lightning, bro. That's like
Oh.
lotus and lightning.
I was
Yeah.
thinking about it the other night. Whenever Buddha left the palace after being protected as a prince, and he finally said, "Dad, Dad, Dad, I want to go out." He set up that parade for him to go out, and as soon as he went out, all the people were supposed to be cheering and stuff like that. And he looked down an alley and saw 2 people fighting over a loaf of bread, and at that moment he gained compassion.
That's
And
interesting because okay, yeah, that's like the movie when like Eddie Murphy Coming to America.
Yeah.
That's the whole Buddha story. Like he's a prince, but he's like.
that's true. Yeah, there is definitely some common stuff in it. That's funny, but it's
He
cool.
wants to learn.
And the
Now
Reiki, this conversation, like, they say, yeah, like, Reiki was rediscovered in Japan and everything, but, like, the energy that he was going after, I always pronounce his name wrong, so I'm not going to say it, Usei.
Mikio, yeah.
Yeah.
Japanese Jesus meme archetype.
Anyway, he was looking for Jesus energy. He was looking for
Yes.
the energy that Jesus used to heal people. And that was kind of like the discovery of Reiki, or what he found as the discovery of Reiki. He sought out looking for, like, what is this healing energy? How did Jesus heal people? Like, what's going on?
See, that's the crazy thing. Like when I came upon like and discovered Reiki, like I initially thought that and linked that, but I never, until I read this book talking about like, I have the book here. I just want to show you. But Essential Reiki, and it wasn't until I read this
that's
book.
what I was thinking of that book too. I have that book. Yeah, that's exactly what I
Oh
was
wow. Okay, so more synchronicity.
Add that to
Anyways,
It's all about
you have to
sending
think about,
intentions, energy.
Yeah,
the
I
three
know,
wise
guys.
men that visited Jesus on his birth was from the east, and they were called three wise men, but at the same time they were recognized as the three magi. So
they had to follow a star, so they had to know some shit about stars.
exactly,
Yeah,
yeah.
I was thinking about that the same thing.
But
But like,
the interesting thing is the Reiki has a Palladian connection.
Oh, that's awesome.
That's the crazy
So what was
thing.
the
So
three wise men following?
you have to question. Now, I mean, if you watch Ancient Aliens, I mean every answer is extraterrestrial. Some say that
every
like,
answer. But they do have some points.
yeah,
but
like,
they do.
on the bottom
They
at the
do.
same time.
Michael, when it comes to when you bring up like some stuff about Reiki and all those stuff, like that's what really strange about Reiki, Like, here's something that I did that is so strange. You wouldn't believe this. Like,
That's
only
Japanese
you,
term, by the way.
like, I would believe Bonnie would know because like I actually been to her house. Like, there's one time that I actually had a chance to take St. John's wort and Kava Kava. Like, I took it once every day, like both of those stuff, and then, well, the St. John's wort, I actually took it 3 times a day. And then next thing you know, what I noticed is that I didn't actually got better in terms of how I handle my energy because I still get nervous on certain occasions. But what I noticed is that whenever I gaze at people directly in the eye, it somehow is like as though their energy all of a sudden got healed, like as though all that energy that I have for myself transfers to them, and immediately they can feel it. Like, for example, when I gaze directly at Bonnie and she's like, "Andy, I feel like so serene all of a sudden."
Are you talking about meta?
Somewhat.
Sounds like he's talking about bedroom eyes.
I was just like eye gaze right in front of her.
Soul gazing. You're talking about soul
Soul-
gazing.
Oh no, because that's what I would do with Andy at the
Same
Yeah.
thing, and I did it to Michael, and
Bonnie.
he was in a trance too.
It was.
Wait,
It
I
was
did it to you, bro. Too.
I did it to you. I did
It's a
it to you.
mutual thing. Look at each other in the
It felt
eye.
good. It just felt good. It
That's
felt so good. Just give it to me. I want the energy. Nom 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 nom.
That's the scary part about it, actually. is They're everywhere.
Yeah, that's what I can tell right.
I would
Mine.
look into Andy, and then Andy would look like a hologram. Like that's what he would look like. I would stare at him until I could see nothing but light.
I have this
Glass
weird
of the
thing
light.
when it's eye gazing thing. Like, I can't look at both eyes at the same time. Like, I'm constantly like, how do you
I
eye contact?
I've always said that is that you should, all that romantic looking me in the eyes. No, I can look you in one eye. Or
That's what I'm like. I can look at one of your eyes.
whatever.
Look into my eyes.
No, but you're talking about physical. No, no. If you're looking into someone's eyes, what you're talking about is like, remember Jesus, the Gnostics. They're talking about when the two become one, when the two halves become one. Like that's what he's talking about. The third eye right here, right? Like if you see someone, it's not about the physical. You see the brain, you see their soul, because that's the gateway, the window. The eyes are the windows into the soul, man. And
Yes.
if you
Yeah,
look at the eyes,
that's why I drew my third eye, so that way I can give you guys a picture of who I really was.
I gotta say, by the way,
Also
Andy,
gives you a place to
Are you
focus
backed up on your story
both
now?
eyes at the same time.
can't look at me, dude. You can't look at me now.
Yeah, that's actually there's one of those things that I heard that like if you feel like you're gonna be around somebody that's like I don't know doesn't have the best intentions or like they like a psychic vampire or something, don't look at their eyes, but you can just look at their third eye and be like, cut that out, bruh. You know, like,
Yeah, that's what I notice is that whenever I start gazing at somebody who has like anxiety or
mentally
something,
though.
well, here's what's happening. Either A, I get a stomach ache, or B, I got them a stomach ache or a headache. Like to the point where A, they would run into the bathroom and start giving themselves a severe diarrhea. I'm not joking. I give them a taste of their own medicine.
Dude, I can't do that. I can't. I'm too nice. Like, that's the secret. Like, I can't do that. I rather endure it. Like, you know, like I'll be like Jesus. I'll be like Jesus, man. I'll be like long suffering. I'll take it. I'll take it. Because if I even, because I believe in moral victories, man. That's my thing. Because that's me. That's my, in my birth chart. It's all about like moral victory. It's not about like.
I don't think
the
exactly.
instant
I
revenge.
don't think you
I don't need.
you shouldn't divert any of your energy to
Yeah. Why would you?
That's what I
Like,
noticed.
I'm trying to
Same here,
create
man.
beauty, man.
And that's what I was saying
I'm
earlier.
trying to create beauty.
You don't have
Same
there
here,
is
man.
no such thing as enemies. You don't have any
Yeah, I
enemies.
know. That's what happens when I was gazing directly at like some people, some of my Catholic friends, is that they know that they were scared of me. I know that I don't see enemies in them, but somehow what I did ended up giving them a bad headache.
You just I don't know. I mean,
I just like
No,
smile at them. That's all.
but like,
Andy,
see, the
Andy,
thing
you
is,
know what it
Andy
is?
can get in with those circles. Like me, I'm like Vegeta with the Scouter. I'm like, what is Kakarot doing around with these humans? You know, like
Oh yeah, I'm Kakarot.
he can
all
get
right.
into those circles, but me, I'm like, you know,
Oh.
it's
No,
different.
dude, I don't waste, because when you start, look, because I don't waste my mental power on that. Like, because this is me. I'll do the Japanese Jesus meme, where basically I will, like, take on the sin of others around me. I'll soak up all their energy, and then, like, when they don't realize it, I will convert it into pure, like, rainbow bursting your fucking solar faces, and then you'll be like, ah! They'll be like, I love you, and I'm like, yeah, I know, please, bitch, please.
Oh wow.
You don't have to love me, love yourself.
But see, Lao Tzu, that's China. That's Chinese, right? What's the equivalent of Japanese Jesus?
Oh,
Like
that
Japanese.
would be
That's
very
Oh,
sad.
I come with the rain.
Usui.
Oh, no,
That's Mikio Usui.
no. Anyone could be Jesus. Like if you believe in love, like the heart center thing. But have you ever watched this movie called like with Josh Hartnett called I Come with the Rain? It's about Japanese Jesus, the meme. Basically, like it's a Vietnamese director who predicted that the Japanese Jesus is going to return because they have a theory in Japan in a small little village that Jesus came like 1,000 years ago, like his spirit came and was trying to influence it. And like, what the hell? Why would Asian culture, like island in the middle of nowhere, have a Japanese? Like, why would Jesus come there and try to, do his thing? Like, maybe because he predicted that in that area, because I believe Japan and Hawaii used to be a part of Lumeria, like a bigger piece of land, and then a bunch of that land sunk into the ocean. That's why you have like a pyramid off the coast of Japan. So you have to wonder, like Japan is not really Asian. It became Asian because like a bunch of Chinese people emigrated over there, and then they become their own culture, and then now we forgot because they've become so isolated for so long. They developed this samurai warrior culture like Vikings, and like. All I can say is like because of all the bloodshed, like Jesus had to come to Japan, and because Japan had the most demonic and spiritual connection, like that's why they have Shintoism. Like you know what I mean? They
Shintoism,
really,
yeah.
Yeah, they're really deep into that like spirit thing. Like that's why they're so ahead of us in terms of embracing certain concepts. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Japanese Jesus is Jesus.
Like Jesus is like I told you, Jesus can manifest. Yeah, Japanese Jesus is Jesus. Like, but he basically seeded his child, his DNA, so that it would represent him, even though he does, because the like Japanese Jesus is the real Jesus, dude. And not the Jesus suburban, not the Rambo Jesus, like the white Jesus, like the Republican, like gun-toting Jesus, like that. Those are memes. But I'm just saying, anything can be real if you believe in it, and it's all an archetype anyway, right? And
okay, yeah.
and if his spirit
Yeah.
is real, and then it visited them, then yeah, he could manifest anywhere. He could That's why you have Krishna, Buddha, Yeshua, like Allah.
Yeshua.
Everything is say right? When you say say hello, ha ha ha. When you laugh, you are the laughing Buddha, Jesus. You are Jesus if you're laughing. Whenever you laugh, you are being spiritual. You're raising the vibration, so laugh more. You don't have to be smart. Just laugh. Exactly. There you go. Humor.
Oh boy. I can just imagine how I laugh so much in this show.
Andy has the most fun. That's true.
Yeah. No, I do have to. Yeah, I do have to. That's. I feel like that's really interesting, and I feel like that's always something that's kind of stumped me, just as far as religions go, because it's always kind of stumped me how, at least, and I can only speak for really Christianity because it's what I was raised under, but how. There's just been this premise or this acceptance, at least in Christianity, whereas, there's only one God. And I'm like, well, then how do all of these other people have all of these other, you know what I mean? Have all of these other gods, and quite literally looking at it from the archetype perspective, it would just make sense that it's all the same energy. You know what I mean? That's here right now because they need this help. And then we'll go visit them right now because they need this help. All to teach the same thing.
Yeah, that's what in Buddhism we actually have this concept. It's called the devotee and the devoter are empty. That's a concept that I actually learned in Buddhism, that we all are actually, which means like we're just all empty by nature. That's what I mean.
Yeah, Andy, you're not even real, bro. Like, you're just in your body right now. So, like, that's what Bruce was talking about. Be spirit. Don't be fucking, like, the spirit becomes the body. So whatever you're inhabiting, you are now Andy. But you're not Andy, dude. You don't even exist. You think you exist. You're an AI. You think you're real, but you're not real, bro.
Oh,
that's why you're so
AI.
Wouldn't that just be like being open if you're empty?
Empty, that means that means it lacks inherent nature, something that you can potentially like have forever. It's inherently yours. That's what it means.
Well,
I love Bonnie
Christians,
because Bonnie is funny.
for the most part, they relegate it to a smaller nature, but one of the sayings is "let go and let God," and that is really Buddhist in nature, if you ask me.
Yeah, that's
if you
the
open yourself up to just what
God
is.
Yeah, I don't know about you guys, but like somehow the word and like it's all over the Sanskrit and Tibetan language. Like for example, when I read all the 27 names of the Buddha in Sanskrit, it's like Avalokiteshvara, Amitabha. They're all starting out with the word
Oh, that's wild. 27 names of Buddha, 72 names of God. Both of them add up to 9.
I actually don't know if this is right, and I don't know if you guys can see this, but when I got this, I was told that it has all of the names of the Buddha on it, and it's this little cool thing I ordered from China a while ago. But yeah, I was told this has all of the names of the Buddha on it, and it's crazy. It's got all of these little like awesome little symbols on it. It's really funny you mentioned that, Andy.
Oh,
Yeah.
Buddha has a lot of names.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like when I read about creation, is that the thing is somehow the word and the word Om is like it's so prevalent, you know.
Well, it's Alpha and Omega, right?
Speaking of
That
That is actually cool, yeah.
You know.
It'd be interesting
Alpha and Omega.
to do on a graph
Omega.
it'd be interesting to put the two on a running graph and see how their frequencies or how their waveforms interact.
Yeah.
That's right. Yeah.
See how they resonate. That'd be interesting.
Well, if you really want to do that, be sure you get like a microphone where you can be able to measure the frequencies, and now try to like do it over the microphone and see if you can pick it up.
Well, yeah.
Because I actually do have softwares to do that, and I was like, oh wow, that is pretty cool, you know. Like,
Kathleen Johnson.
Yo.
I told everybody you're trying to get in here, so
I'm back.
we're all happy you made it.
Welcome back.
hey, welcome back.
We have to flag you down for an intro.
Hi.
Hello.
Yo, Mohammed, what's up, man?
Nothing much.
Welcome
Just got my
back.
camera working.
Wow.
Oh, that sexy beard, man.
Thanks.
Welcome back. Welcome back.
The lights fell, bro. That's beautiful. I only got this cute little lamp right here.
Mm-hmm. So, Andy, what were, aside from sacred geometry, what also were we talking about in
Language, you know, like how we derive our stuff from
What was
sacred
the
geometry.
agenda?
Sound.
I think the original topic we started on was sacred
Creation.
geometry, Bonnie. But
Sacred geometry.
Creation.
Everything's
these conversations
disconnected.
go, Bonnie. It
Wor-
starts
words- words
here and it ends up everywhere.
Well,
Words
think
are
about
symbols,
it.
you guys. Words
Well,
are
think
symbols.
about
If you
it.
focus on sound,
What you guys did actually brought up to one point. Like, just think about it. When you talk about sacred geometry and how sounds play a role in like how we describe our universe, you realize how in the Bible it said like from the Word of God came the existence, right? That's what we were discussing about. Is language, the power of language.
What's really cool about sacred geometry and the flower of life is it's set up with a whole bunch of circles that share common fields. Basically, this Google Hangout is the flower of life.
It is, and it's actually
That's interesting.
blossoming. And it's actually blossoming, you know.
I had a really interesting lucid dream one time, man. I think it was that time that it felt like I was on a spaceship. And the thing is, like, I got to see Earth from, like, the perspective of, like, somebody that is just kind of gazing upon this planet. And this Earth, like, when I was at that space, wherever I was at that space, I realized, like, you can create anything that you wish. You know, you, like, whatever, say, the house, you know, you wish to manifest, whatever it is. And at this space, like, you just could create it, and it was just showing like how it all works and everything. It was interesting because it's kind of how, like, you know, we're on this Google Hangout. It's kind of the view of what it looks like. It looks like I was looking at the Earth, and this is how Earth actually was, and the actuality of it, and then here's when people put a perception of what it actually is, and it was really interesting. It was so lucid, man, and
dude, your sound. You need to raise your vibration. Your sound is like slowing this energy down, bro.
I can tell, Michael, because seriously, you look so dull.
What?
He
Like,
needs that jolt. He needs that jolt. Kathleen,
Alright.
do you have anything to add in this conversation?
And
Hi.
if you want to do a quick
Hi.
intro and drop it.
I want to read this for Andy though. Before I forget.
Yeah, sure.
And then we'll let Kathleen do an intro.
Bonnie,
Alright,
wake up.
I want to read this real quick for Andy because it's called, the chapter in the book here is called "Kidding Around." The Earth goes around the Sun, the Moon goes around the Earth, our solar system goes around the galaxy, the star spins around their central pole. Everything goes round and round and round in this great universe. Following the cycles of time and the movement of the heavens was encoded into the much-lost art of astrology. Astrological charts and calendars based on animal or anthropomorphic gods are found throughout the known world. In order to deeply understand the motions of the stars and planets, there is no doubt that one needs to know the power of the circle. Without looking no further than one's backyard, one can easily see the circular nature of nature. Birds' nests, acorns, heads of flowers, and tree trunks. Everything in the cosmos is spinning itself into existence. Whatever game this universe is playing, it is easy to say that it is most definitely kidding around. In the last volume, we correlated the numerical equivalent of child to 365.24. Day time span it takes the Earth to revolve around the sun. This led us to the conclusion that we indeed must therefore be the sons of God, for all of us were once children or a child. Another name for a child is kid. Let's compare the numerical equivalents of these two adolescent names. Kid is also 354 divided by 12 months of the moon. Notice kid gives us the number 354. The synodic month, or the period of the moon's phases, is a period of roughly 29.5 days. If we correlate the 12 solar lunar year, we find the numbers of the letters kid. Beyond the wholeness of the eternal God exists the duality of our manifested reality. The power of both the sun and the moon, the grand opposites in our heavenly sky, exists within every child and kid on this great earth. And it ends with a Robert Frost quote: "We dance round in a ring and suppose, but the secret sits in the middle and knows."
Very interesting.
All right.
Yeah, it is. Hey, Chad, like what you said about that, I was like, no wonder why I'm so attracted to children. Like, I'm not joking.
Oh, snap. Kathleen, did you want to do your intro?
Oh, sure, yeah. So my name is Kathleen, and I'm from Minnesota, and I've been interested in alternative, information for a really long time now. And I've been part of the Paradigm Shift community for probably about 2 years. I would like to start a community here in Minneapolis, but at the time I don't really have the ability to do that. But now with these Google Hangouts, I think it's really important for us to utilize the Google Hangouts because that helps, with our waking up of humanity.
Totally. We recently found out tonight, thanks to Bonnie, that this is also a support group.
There's also a support group.
Oh yeah,
guys.
yeah, I would agree.
Totally a support group.
Guys, like, I'm not joking when it comes to telling how this is a support group. You guys really made me feel like I'm like a therapist. Like, I'm not joking. I actually try to get my degree I try to get my degree in recreational therapy, and you guys just literally blew that one out of the water. Wow. I was like slapping my forehead. It's like, do I have to go back to therapy right now just to like learn all my ABCs on therapy or something? Because it's already been a nightmare to be in there. Now you're bringing it up.
Yeah, I would like to say too, as a support group, I've felt alone for about 3 years now with all of my understanding and my learning and the knowledge I gained. And a lot of people here in Minnesota may not have the same views as me, and that's why it's really important that we do these Google Hangouts. So I'm really excited to be here.
Well, welcome. We're excited to have you.
Thank you.
Well, Kathleen, feel free to come back anytime because seriously, I would love to have Skull back up here too,
Yeah, I would too. He's really busy all the time, so.
Well, I'm not always busy. In fact, I'm actually
Oh man!
I don't know, just the way you said that, Andy, and the way it came across sounded so funny.
No, I'm not joking, dude. Seriously, like, I'm not joking. Like,
Wait, what did you say?
Here every Saturday.
I know what he says, how he says.
Remember how I told you guys where you guys told me that you had to rest on the seventh day?
Every Saturday.
Well, guess what? Saturday is the Sabbath day for me. So pretty much like
Saturday's Day.
yeah, so pretty much like I rest on that day, so that way I don't get a lot of chaos.
Andy, I see you in an anime form. You belong in anime, bro. You're too larger than life.
Yeah,
I
and
think
then
you came from a cartoon, bro. Sure.
Wait, you guys gotta tell me something, cause like I wasn't, when I was telling the story, I didn't want to sound like boring or anything. I was just telling what happened in the dream.
No, you weren't boring. I'm just saying, bro, you gotta like the energy. But that's your skill. That's your gift. You know how to slow it down, bro. That's you. I don't know if I should call you Sub-Zero. They're out. What did it? Just don't take it literally. Don't take it literally.
I want to speed it up.
No. The more this is the way it works. You're Mark Twain, bro. The more I tell you to speed it up, the more you're gonna slow it down. That's how it works, man. Freudian.
Whoa, come on, Michael.
Jedi
Doesn't
mind
seriously, like, do you know that you were similar to I am? Come on.
Mark Twain.
Yeah,
Mark
same
Twain.
thing over here.
That's you,
I
man.
also slow down.
And what did Mark Twain say? It's not how it's how he said it, man.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's okay to stop. Yeah.
No, like, seriously, you guys wouldn't believe it. Like, when I told Kathleen that you can come back in every Saturday at any time, because the thing is I actually rest on that day. While you might not notice it, but I also worked and volunteered at several hospitals and with crazy amount of kids, so it takes a lot of my energy out. And yet I still stand here and slept 5 hours. That's pretty much like a
You
lot
are
of
not
energy.
human, bro. Andy, you're not human. I swear to God, you're not human. You're definitely an alien. An alien.
He has the look, man.
He is. He's an alien.
Something about Mark Twain, speaking of him, totally off the subject, but I don't want to type. It takes so dang long for me to type. His real name was Samuel Clemens. Mark Twain is actually measuring depth. It's how they did it on riverboats.
Oh, wow.
Oh, this is synchronicity, bro. It's like we're talking in code. Everything's symbolic. Don't live in the right brain and be so fixed like a bunch of like 12-year-old gamer kids. Like, oh, you guys. That's not the way you play the game. You mean, God, how do you know how to play the game, bro? You don't even know what game I'm playing. You know what I mean? Like, you guys gotta free your mind and create your own paradigms. Be your own individual universe and be like, get on my level, get to know me, get to speak my language. What if
We're on Star
I don't think my computer's that fast.
They're playing. Or we're on Zelda. They're playing Star Fox, or vice versa.
Where am I?
Anybody notice that Andy transported to a different room during this conversation? Did anybody notice that Andy transported to a different background?
Yeah,
No.
that's actually my, this is my room right here.
I noticed it now, though.
He was in a different room earlier.
Yeah, that was
Andy, we didn't see you get up and move.
Tele-
How did you?
Yeah.
Well, think about it.
He
Like,
teleported.
alright, this is actually my altar.
Oh,
I have a question.
Teleport, Kathleen.
I have a question. Earlier when I was here, I don't remember who it was, but they were saying that like humans weren't originally from Earth, and I would like to agree with that. But what were you guys talking about with that? I mean, I'd like to go back if you don't want to go back.
Rick brought that up.
No. Jump on it. No, because we were talking. I don't know. I was doing on stream of consciousness. But basically, we were just talking about like how humans. I don't think we came ready-made. Like, and then people try to say, "Oh, we evolved." No, like everything about this planet was brought here, like from like exported. You know, like it was imported. I mean, like even the water on comets. Like we talked about this last time with Mike, right? Mike, you remember this conversation? Like water didn't come from this planet. Like where does it come from? It doesn't. There's not just suddenly a great big flood of water. Like
and the probabilities that it would happen randomly is just.
Yeah, I think that's a really interesting point that you make because I was actually just about to bring this up myself. But I always think it's really important when people talk about evolution. And I think it's really interesting as far as evolution goes because for me, I'm a pretty logical thinker aside from my delve into the metaphysics realm of everything. But I always think it's so interesting that people say we evolved because with everything else, you can quite literally start from the beginning and you can see where it is now. And then there are people who are supposed, there's, like we've got, quite literally every other animal. You can track from the beginning to now. And then there's us. Yeah.
I think we colonized the place.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think
Do you
it
guys
came
think
from
that-
all over the place.
Do you get
Well,
like in the movie Prometheus, like these aliens came and seeded us per se?
Yeah.
Is that what it is?
Well, it doesn't even need to be that because
I don't know.
all the elements
Symbolic.
are actually made in the stars. So each star actually creates different elements. Our sun here creates hydrogen, but when you have all of creation, all these elements are being created, and these elements start combining to make things like H2O, and then you have this over billions of years, or you have this congealing of planets and stuff like that from these elements that are made from stars.
And think about
so it's kind of this congealing process of all elements that are made from the stars, which are made in nebulas. Like the Orion Nebula is basically where a lot of this stuff, a lot of our being comes from, because that's a close star nursery.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I'm still kind of confused about it. Like, are you saying that so we're not originally from here because nothing is originally from here because
I
everything
believe
was
Earth is
crossed?
the school.
In other words, just think of everything as coming from everything else.
Yeah. Well, that makes
Basically.
sense.
I think Earth is the
there's
place
no
to
such thing
learn.
as
Like
Earth.
Earth is like a school. But I don't think
University.
That's what
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd heard that
university. There you
before.
go. That's good.
So yeah,
That's a good way to put it.
to actually
University. Hey, Robert, what were you saying? You got cut off a few times, man.
Wait, go for it, bro.
I don't remember distinctly, but I do agree that I think that what we're experiencing here is kind of
Earth University.
the on-ramp to the next,
yeah, I know.
I think that's a really interesting way to put it. Like, it's kind of like, I kind of think of personally like New York, but you can also kind of step back and look at Earth as the same. It's kind of like a melting pot. You know what I mean? You've got everything from everywhere that is kind of, learning and growing right here before, it gets to where it needs to be or gets what it needs from this experience to continue on to go wherever else it needs with those lessons to continue the process forward.
I'm travel. Flexibility, dude. Everything's
But
flexible.
there's totally like if you read into the realms, which is kind of something if you study Dorian Virtue's information, but she talks about the realms and how there's so many realms. Vonnie would be very knowledgeable on this topic.
No.
Are these realms the same as like different like timelines or different universes or parallel
Yeah,
universes?
it's kind of like different universes.
Well,
Think
guys.
of it like this, you guys. Like, if you do Photoshop, you know how layers. Just think of reality as a bunch of layers that are like superimposed upon each other, and we are only in the physical sense able to perceive one aspect of reality. When all these other realms are coexisting on us, if you can, learn to sense it, you might not be able to see it, but you can learn to sense those other realms. Then you'll be
We don't have the sensory mechanisms to do so.
not the physical ones, but you can develop Wing Chun and Tai Chi. The whole thing about Bruce Lee, like the Wing Chun Chi style, it's all about developing hypersensitivity. Like, that's where like the Spider-Man, like the sixth sense thing, like
Yes.
how does getting bit by a radioactive spider give you that? Like, it's precognition. All these abilities is not based in our physical hardware, it's in our spiritual software. And you're able to access this, and they don't want us to. That's why they have fluoride in our toothpaste and shit like that, because they want to dumb us down. But then if you're strong enough, none of that happens, because that's the whole thing about sun gazing, is to decalcify your pineal gland, and then you could access your abilities anytime.
Well,
That's the point. And it's not about
well, that's the
physically
thing. That's the
Go ahead.
thing, Rex. Like,
I have a really quick question for some of the sun gazers. So I've heard you're only supposed to sun gaze in the morning or while the sun's setting. So then, would it be meaningless to say like there'd be no point in sun gazing in like the middle of the day?
No, I
Well,
have a.
that's
There's
actually
a
a
trick.
very risky thing, you know.
There's a trick. No, Sherman. I'll tell you because I've practiced this. I know. You don't need to look at it with your physical eyes because your eyes will dry up if you're not used to it. What you could do is you close your eyes and your third eye can absorb it. You know what I mean? So you let the sun hit your forehead, even if it's like on a cloudy day, overcast. Doesn't matter. Light is light. It will touch your third eye, and
That's
that's all that matters. The sun. That's it. That's all you need to do. Just
yeah,
just
that's
focus on that.
that's really funny because that's where I personally always end up. I try to solar gaze, my eyes end up closed, and I just end up looking at it with my third eye because I'm like, well, isn't that kind of be the point anyway?
It's not good for your eyes to look at the sun.
Well,
Eat the
Bonnie.
sun.
Yeah, that's pretty much what I do.
Well,
No.
tell
I
Susan.
mean, Andy and I have done this. Like this is what Andy and I used to do. We looked at the sun though.
No, but the thing, all right, look, let me tell you something. If you, okay, let me just say this so because you guys know I'm a freaking advanced mother effer because I've done this for 3 years, and I can tell you this: there's a difference between sun gazing when you're just regular sun, and when you activated your third eye and you can burst the sun, you cannot look at the sun. It's not able to because the sun is bursting. If you stare at that, it will basically vaporize your eyes and like dry your eyes up right away. So if you achieve the like Super Saiyan next level where you can burst the sun, literally supercharge the sun with your third eye, crown chakra, like focus on the energy, the chi, and ground it into your root, and you burst the sun. I mean, literally to the point where you're vaporizing clouds. Then you cannot sun gaze. You can only let your third eye or let your whole body act as a mechanism, as an organ to absorb the vitamin, like the gamma rays. Because it's just gamma rays. As long as any part of your body, your skin is like one organism, right? One organ. If any part of your skin is you're downloading into your DNA the codes, the light codes that are sending to you. Like when I sunburst and I gaze with my third eye for even just 3 seconds, I can't, and I pass out for the whole day. I'm like in bed because that shit is too strong. Like no human body is supposed to handle that much energy, and that's what I have to deal with.
I was gonna say excessive gamma exposure is bad. Gamma is a destructive radiation.
Yeah, and I was gonna say that's what I had heard. That's why they were like the UV rays are at their lowest when the sun is rising and when the sun is setting.
Yeah, but if you're looking at it with your third eye, I think it's different.
Well,
But it's also what you believe. It's also what you believe. If you believe it, it's real. You have to remember that. Like someone else brought that up. If you believe it's going to cause these things, your body will manifest those things. But if you believe you're immune and you focus on that intent, you just focus on your intent. You focus on your intent to like, if I look at the sun, I'm going to draw the energy and maximize it. Because that's how you become Super Saiyan, is like to activate yourself to the next level. And this is not fake. This is real. This is real. Trust me. Because if you go on my Facebook, you look at my pictures, there's no way I can burst the sun to the point where I black out all the other images and just the sun is bursting. Like literally, the rays bursting. It's like one ball of energy. I've never seen anyone else able to do this, okay? And I know if I can do it, anyone can surpass me. I'm just a pioneer. I jump in first. But because after I started taking pictures of the sun, I noticed everyone doing it. Yoginis, everyone. So if I know that we are all connected. So if someone pioneers, any one of you pioneer, and you do something first, and you believe in it, you do it. Doesn't matter if you get paid for it. Doesn't matter. You influence the rest of us in who's connected. All the indigos, all the sensitive people will immediately know it. Because if you do it to a point where people are aware, it's about awakening, dude. You don't need to be famous because you're already famous. We're in the same family.
Well, that's the thing.
The one verse.
Did you guys notice?
It makes sense that we would have the capacity inherently to draw energy from the sun. Even if we were seeded here by another, species and they suited us for this environment, or they terraformed this planet for us in general, it would only make sense that we'd have an inert capacity to draw energy. This
is what I've heard. This is one of the things that I've heard.
Well, it's really interesting. Sorry.
No, I was gonna say this is one of the things that I've heard is that we're actually sending signals back home. So like whenever like some cool shit happens here, like we dial back home.
Sun is the portal.
Like
yeah.
Sun
is the portal, so you can. Yeah, exactly. for sure.
Well, what's really interesting is that in some reptiles, they're in on their pineal gland, it actually contains a lens and a retina, like our eyes. Their pineal gland does, even though this is inside their head. So there's obviously some kind of in a lot of reptiles. So that's a really another interesting thing that sort of goes along with this.
That's
And we all have reptilian DNA in us. You know what I mean? Amygdala.
Yeah, I know. But like, here's the thing, guys. Like, do you notice when I tried the sunbursting from what Rex was doing, and I actually tried gazing at it? I had to admit it was like some of the most refreshing thing I ever did to myself. It's like I feel like I was full of energy afterwards, and like that's how I ended up permanently changing my sleep habit all of a sudden.
I just add this just so you guys, because you're asking about it. If you get so good, if you meditate and you sit into like any kind of posture, doesn't matter if it's lotus, half lotus, but if you sit and you align your intent, your spinal, like the root, it's like an antenna. If you align your body and you meditate, it doesn't matter if you're outside. You can burst the sun from wherever you are. Because just imagine that you're like a beacon, like a solar anchor. And when you anchor this, it's like a signal, and you send the signal back. It's like you go back home. That's why when you go to sleep, you're really going back home. Our bodies are the physical anchor to this realm, this dimension. And if you go to sleep, you're going back to your real body and your real home, like God knows how far away. But these bodies that we're injected into, that's why it's so tiring to be here. You know what I mean? That's why so many of us that's why they recommend us eating vegan or vegetarian or plants more or fruits, is so that it could allow us to maintain consciousness in this body, in this physical body, without like wanting to go home. But I do so much like anchoring in my DNA, I have to go to sleep a lot. And
Same
people
here.
don't get it.
That's one of the things I noticed.
Or by frequency.
That's one of the things I noticed. Like, I've been taking these really long ass naps, and like,
Well,
what you
might
said,
not notice
like
it.
I'll be traveling.
You know what's really funny is that while you guys were like traveling and do all those fun stuff over there, and like you were having a vacation, I'm actually staying
Sonic
here.
warfare.
I was actually
Sonic warfare.
I was actually staying
You know why?
right here
Because
on Earth. I was actually staying here on Earth, like helping out the children, and they are like, wow.
Andy, it's sonic warfare because look, they said they recently had a news on IO9 where they said that they're shutting down the heart facility in Alaska, but I doubt it. Like, because you just know that they have like so many access to technology where they're messing with the ionosphere with we don't even know, and we could just imagine if if you bring back to the sonic energy, if the sound can influence weather, like when I want a cloud burst or cloud vaporize the clouds, I use my voice and I sing to break up the molecules of the cloud and burst the sun at the same time with the intention. When you burst the sun, it heats up the clouds, and you burst the clouds. All this, it's not just to show off your abilities, but you're causing ripples, and you're painting and you're creating a message, and it's being sent elsewhere. Like I was telling you about the cloud formation. If you want to create any kind of clouds, you can create it. Because the weather, everything.
Nimbus.
It's weather painting, dude. It's weather painting.
Yeah,
you can do this.
Yeah,
I want to
know,
create
Rex.
rain.
Like,
Make the rain
seriously, Rex.
I
impossible.
picked some small
Rex,
clouds and made them
seriously.
disperse, but
Yeah,
just
good.
looking at them.
So happy if
I know.
for
But
it.
like, here's the problem, Bonnie. Like, here's the thing, Rex, is when I actually did what you did do, I not only create rain in one day, but it rained the whole week.
Yeah, you got to be careful with that.
I'm not joking. You know how
We need rain.
powerful I am, and you know how much of an alien I am. So whatever I set my mind into, it happens, and it happens for a long time. You know.
I'm a Tarasu.
I have a question, because I had to take a phone call, so I couldn't ask it earlier when you were on the subject, but, like, what about, I've heard things with, like, Pleiadian star seeds or, like, stuff like that, and I missed it if you talked about it, but, like, how would I know if I was, like, a star seed or something like that, or am I just
Like,
a human that's like fully?
Like, I can tell you from personal experience. Like, I mean, anybody here could also have, but like from what I resonate with, like, if you have like these dreams, like this is one of the strongest indicators for me. Like if you have these dreams where you're like traveling and it feels like you're on a spaceship, or you connect with a particular like stars in the sky. I mean, there's also personality traits and things like that,
I
but
was just
like,
about to say, it doesn't have, you also don't have to have seen any of that, like, necessarily to be a stars. Okay, I'm
yeah,
trying to find a website I used to play around with that talks about just all the different star systems and, like, different star people and types and ways that and it's
saying,
based on characteristics about yourself. It's like, oh, I have these qualities, so I fit into this category the most, or whatever.
yeah. I was gonna say, but like one of the things that like it was like that will just kind of like if you wonder and you second guess yourself, one of the things that at least made me have to kind of like have no other option is just like when I had these dreams where it literally felt like I was on a spaceship, except it was just my body, and I heard like kind of like a hovercraft noise, like it's those type of things. Like when you experience those give you a kind of definite answer.
Like it doesn't sound. Look, I'll just tell you. I'll just add something like concrete. Like twice, one recently and one like 6 or 7 years ago. The recent one was like a strange cloud formation over my house, and like it's like not even cloud, like a black weird kind of smoky fog, and it looked like a hologram, glitchy. And all of a sudden, like in the distance, I saw an eagle, but it wasn't an eagle because it wasn't flying like a natural eagle. It was like a kite, like a weird looking but it's not real. It's not a real image. It's like I know it's a bunch of ETs like saying what's up. You know what I mean? And I was like, dude, I ain't having that, because at first it was clear skies, and all of a sudden it became black smoke, and I saw this, like, and it was a clear blue sky day, and I saw the dark shadow surrounding my house in the form of a circle or a disc. And I was like, okay. Like even though I'm looking up and it doesn't look like there's anything there, there's something there because it's casting a shadow. It's blocking out the sun. That's one. That's the recent one. And when I was talking to my friend who's like connected to Andromeda, like she's like an insect thing because she has the connection to bees. But the one, like the first experience I had with UFO was like it was raining. Not raining. It was like at a lake, but the sun was really close to the lake, and there's a bunch of clouds underneath the sun, randomly raining, and it created a perfect halo, a rainbow halo. I've never seen a 3-dimensional rainbow halo in my entire life. I tried to take pictures, but I didn't have a camera back then. I only had my phone, and it was like a shitty phone yet. So I was like, dude, that is the weirdest thing I've ever seen. It looked like a rainbow ring, but it was like the size of a freaking, I don't know, like the circumference, the circumference of maybe like 150 feet. But the height would have been like maybe 30 feet. But it was like a 3-dimensional rainbow halo, and it had like red, green, blue, yellow on the bottom, and mostly red on the top. I was like, at first I thought, oh, this is a natural phenomenon. But then I had friends who talked about cloud ships and how they like to like manifest and like give you these hints, like if you're not ready for that. And that shit is real. You know what I mean? That shit is real. And when I saw that, I was like, what does that even mean? What does the rainbow halo mean? Like, if Jesus had the crown of thorns, what is a rainbow halo supposed to mean? Are we the rainbow warrior tribe? You know, like the Hopi prophecy? You know what I mean? That's us. I think that's us.
Does it also mean
So-
that we're angels in some way?
Hey, Kathleen.
Yeah.
I don't wanna like, I guess, oversimplify it or anything, but I'm pretty sure if you want to know your starseed in this chat, I'm pretty darn sure. Like,
pretty sure.
Right.
You have to ask.
Well, yeah, and I agree, but I don't feel like I resonate with, anything else that you guys were
It's
talking about.
okay, Kathleen.
You don't have
In
to.
fact,
You don't have
because you have to remember, we don't label things either, And
Yeah.
this is a support group, so therefore...
We don't. It's not
Support group. I love
It's become a support group. It was a place for consciousness to
Just
grow.
think about it. I'm also a Saiyan, and I created this group so that people who are just don't fit in society to join in.
Yeah, well, I certainly don't fit.
Me. Like, for example, me, like,
Well,
To give you
it's
a
not a
short
place for
recall who I am,
misfits.
is that
It's
when I was a child,
Yeah.
I used to have like frustrations with the world, you know?
it's a
And
place to grow, man.
yeah, I know, but like the
I've never,
world was so
I
Alright,
never
guys.
really,
Hey, guys.
yeah, the world
I
was
never
Andy,
really
so
you
thought
have to believe
support
in
groups
yourself,
was a
Neo.
negative
I
thing.
know. This is just
Y'all
telling
hear
me
what
about
I'm
my
saying?
past.
Okay. I
Yeah,
can
so
Hey,
a support group, I mean, if you think about it, the whole collective consciousness is a support group because we're like interdependent upon each other,
Well,
you
totally.
know?
that's the thing.
Yeah.
So
Like,
if
I
you
can pull
think of it,
someone out
a
of the support group.
consciousness shift, yeah, you know, a consciousness shift is a type of awareness of the support group we exist as.
Well, I want to say
yeah, that's
something real quick here.
It's become a support group.
Well,
yeah.
think about it. If
Like,
you
I
really
think we
want,
all, you know, I think we
that's
all,
why,
we all tend to do this because we all live in a world where we label everything. You know what I mean? And then
well, yeah,
we're so used to the labels that we get caught up in the labels when quite literally, I feel like one big thing that lies in transcendence or evolution or enlightenment comes with letting go of the way that we label ourselves. You know what I mean?
exactly.
Because we're so used to these labels that we put ourselves in these boxes. Our society has these boxes. When something does not
Exactly.
perfectly fit into a box, then it's wrong, or we freak out, or But it's quite literally just another way to limit ourselves. And when I really, personally, I just think we all, as like, I don't know, people need to transcend the labels, which then again is a lot easier said than done because we live in a world of words, and words in themselves are labels, and all of that. Take it as you will. But yeah, I mean, quite honestly, they're all titles, and they're all titles, they're all names for the same thing. Whether you want to be an angel or a star worker or a light worker or a star seed, it's all really, it's all really, I feel like, encompasses the same thing. You know what I mean? If you
Yes.
are conscious and you are about bringing consciousness to others, you're pretty much all on the same toe as all the rest of us. And I don't think it matters what we call ourselves, because it's all about the same thing, which is really just about sharing.
Well,
and
I think, like I was saying before,
knowing thyself.
Totally.
Like I was saying before, like with the star seeds, like we all come, like we're like the metaphysical level, we're all one, right? And it's all light and that. But on the physical plane, all the stars are creating the elements that also create our reality in the physical. So we're all star seeds because we come from the stars. That's where we were born. And all the stars, and all the elements. Like when we drink water, which is most of our body. That's why water is the truth. When we drink the H2O, we're drinking that hydrogen and oxygen that were created in the stars. Who knows how far away? So we're all part of this entire universe, physically and metaphysically, the light or the elements. So that's where you get some star seeds. Indigo is just a code word for anybody born in this new age of Aquarius. So indigo is just a Neptune in Aquarius. That is all indigo is. So if you were born at this time, then you are indigo. That's why there's this huge generational gap. It's because they can't resonate with our vibration. It's because it's a completely different vibration that we're on. And a lot of people are still trapped in the old ways, but we're the people that are resonating with this new energy, with this new consciousness, and we're just the start of it. Because this age has another 2,000 years to go. We're at the very, very start of this new Aquarian age, which I think, actually, the Aquarian age started in February 2013 when the Pope stepped down. So what do you have? Because the Piscean age is ruled by Jupiter, Jupiter. Peter was in Rome was a
flower
Jew.
children, man.
So when Jupiter stepped down, it was the Neptune, Aquarius, which is the age of Jupiter. That's my take. Oh, one more thing. And just because you dream something, like angels and demons, doesn't mean that's actually real. Like Skull was talking about how he dreamed with.
It depends.
He had a dream with pterodactyls. I mean, it doesn't really mean anything. You're bringing that in with your own.
Understanding.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, but it depends. I mean, you do travel on different planes, so
golden living dreams of vision.
Who is singing?
The crystal revelation.
And the mind's true liberation, Aquarius. You know the song? It's a dimension, man. Aquarius.
Guys,
The fifth
here's the
dimension,
thing.
yes. Yes,
Let
Age
the
of
sun
Aquarius,
shine.
yes.
Let
That was the
the
most
sun
popular
shine.
song
Hey
in
guys,
69, I believe.
I hate to interrupt this, but like,
The fifth
since
dimension.
since we've covered a lot, like, let's wrap things up. Is that from what we talked about, like sacred geometry, how our language, everything, all came one single source of reality, and how we can create it. The only question
Outro
now
the
is
song, bro.
once we already showed you all the ways,
We should
what do we do
outro
with it?
it like that, man.
With that,
So
I got
yeah,
the song. I got the song.
now
I got the song.
I would like
I
to
will. I
end this
will.
chat so that way, like the audience will have a chance to think about what
40-year-old
can
virgin,
they
man.
do for themselves.
Yeah. The song.
So yeah, thanks for
They
watching.
had Pan in that movie too.